And there
So
we
they
go.
stuck me in this decompression chamber, you know,
Mhm.
had me there for 2.5 weeks. I hated it. It's just sitting around all day. I felt my ears pop once. And they told me that that's what they do, or that's what they have to do whenever somebody switches dimensions. They have to get decompressed for a little while.
Hmm.
So it was quite an experience. But, you know, hey, at least I got to meet a few interesting people. You know?
Yeah, you think that you would have used that ability to maybe go back and stop some horrible tragedy from
It
taking
never
place.
works that way. The butterfly effect is always in motion. It only gets worse. The more you screw with the timeline, the more and dimensions. You can try that you jump over to another dimension and you play with stuff that's in that dimension. You come back, nothing, everything's the same. Just ask that guy that got caught during just as the elections were happening. He said he was there to take out Trump. You know, he had switched dimensions and tried to stop. He wasn't able to stop it. There's just some things that are inevitable.
How are you doing this week?
I'm hanging in there, going crazy with my Formar stuff. I stopped doing everything else. I'm working on the show, but working on the Formar stuff. So, and the show's been an adventure.
Right.
So, since we stopped the paper, so I got the invoices out to the advertisers, and you know, I've been getting calls on that paper on the show. Now I'm getting calls for the Saginaw show now too. I just had an interview with them live this afternoon for a while about the person up in Saginaw got a hold of M Live and said, "Hey, we're having a convention here at the market." And so they found the lady who knew the least about nerd culture and geek culture, had her give me a call. So I'm like, "Have you ever been to a comic show before?" No. Wanted to say, "Have you ever seen a grown man naked?" No, not really. Not really. But yeah, she had never been to a comic show, had no idea about Motor City, didn't know what a Comic Con was. I had heard about San Diego, but had never, paid much attention to it. So I had to give her a Cliff Notes version of what's happening.
That's what I get asked the most when people find out that I go to comic conventions. They're like, "Oh, what do you dress up as?"
Yeah. Well, no, she had no concept of cosplay. So what's this? You're all going to dress up? No, not all of us. Just the ones that want to. It's all here to have fun. It's like Mardi Gras.
Any butterflies yet with the show? Do you still get nervous at all with Flint Comics Con?
The only thing I get nervous about is having enough people show up so that the vendors are happy. That's the big thing. But I was worried about the vendors because of that Gem City Con going on down in Dayton. I filled that hall really quick. So now I consider ourselves sold out.
Awesome. That's good news. So we'll jump right into some questions here. Some things that I've been talking to people
Before you do that, why don't you send me that link for the YouTube?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I'll post it over on the Facebook and see who we can get.
Yeah,
If it's up on your channel already, Bert's probably in the chat room.
Yeah, let me send this to you.
If he is, he should type in. Do we have anybody watching?
I will let you know in a second. I'm going to send you the.
Send it to me.
There we go. Let's see here.
Hi, Randy. I'm logged into Google Hangouts. Do I call you or Varian? Oh, Trico just sent me.
I sent him a link.
He sent me He sent me one 26 minutes ago.
Yeah, I sent him the link.
Well, that'll be cool.
Yeah, let's see.
I told him to get a hold of you. Did he talk to you sooner?
No, let me see here. Did edit of the invites?
Varian messaged me. Oh, hey, there's my ugly mug again. Copy that link. And are you still there? What?
Yep.
Okay.
Here, let's see. I just want to make sure that my link was working. Yeah. All right. All right. Okay, let's see here. And I've got that done.
Pasting it in now. Wow, it's a long link.
It is. It
There it
is.
is. There it is. Let me go over to it, make sure it's still good. Add a donate button. No. Thank you, but no. Make Facebook some money. We have 4 watching. Hello, 4, whoever you are. Type it into that chat. Lewis is there. Trico is there. Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight? Okay. All right. I can hear myself talking. I'm going back to the live.
There we go. All right.
Now I'm back. I gotta turn that down now. I just muted me.
Oh.
Because I deserved it. Anyway.
So I have a question for you.
Sure.
So I'll jump right in here. Seeing a question. Hey, Dave. Dave just jumped in. How you doing, Dave? What's going on?
Hey, Dave. What's up?
See you this weekend in Flint. So one of the questions I was Saturday.
Dave, the Supreme.
You know, a lot of us are artists. We get together and from different, walks of the artist life, I guess. Tattoo artists and comic artists. We all tend to hang out together. And I know an artist, a young lady. She's a tattoo artist and she's also a comic book artist. She does comic book work. She did put out a book as one of her, I guess, a report in a way, or essay she had to do. She went to CCS and they had her
CCS.
Yeah, her project was a book she put out.
Oh, okay.
And we were talking on Saturday, and she said, she says that as a tattoo artist, she has a lot more respect for her career as a tattoo artist than she does in the comic books, the entertainment, pop culture field.
She gets more respect.
She has more respect for that field.
Because she has more respect for that field.
Yeah, and that part.
Because everybody working in comics are all immature brats. Is that what you're saying?
No. Well, she said that the reason why is because she had to fight for it. She had to scrub floors, scrub toilets, and she just has more respect for that field than she does for comics. And I was wondering, I was going to ask you, do you think that there needs to be, or there should be, an apprentice? I don't know the word I'm trying to use, but this a point where you do an apprenticeship or you have to pay your dues before you start putting in comics, maybe get under the wing of somebody who's a little bit more learned and educated in the field.
All depends on how fast you want to learn or who's in the area that you want to learn from. It's not mandatory that you do that. A lot of it's just school of hard knocks, sit there and do comics.
Yeah.
Bounce it off of whoever and see what goes on. But there's always people out there looking for apprentices. I'd like to find a couple of good apprentices about this time of year to help me work on the some of the commercial work that I do. That'd be cool. It's hard to find, especially coloring, especially for the next 2 weeks, because that's going to be hell. So I've got 7 signs I got to get colored yet, and a bunch of stuff I have to paste up, and they want everything, their events at the end of next week. So at the end of 3 weeks, March 9th.
Trico says, wait a minute, Varian made me scrub toilets to join last call. He's absolutely right. That's part of apprenticeship. I just figured, we got to try it. Got to start somewhere.
That's for writers, though.
Yeah, writers. Artists, our hands are delicate. We take it easy.
Artists just become black space fillers. Here, this is how you ink. Grab a brush, get that in the ink jar, and just there you go. That's the way it works.
Yeah, that caused me some. I had to think about that all week about that. Well, since Saturday, I've been thinking about that. Like, wow, she admitted that she has more respect for her career as a tattoo artist, and
obviously, it's got something to do with cleaning all them toilets.
Yeah, and we had to. You want a job? Yeah, you're gonna have to clean the whole office up and wash my car and go grocery shopping for me. Get you that thick skin that you need.
That's a regular Padawan situation right there.
Um,
Just call me master. Learn the ways of the Force.
I can see apprenticeship in comics.
I constantly get called by Mott, usually once or twice a year. People wanting to be an intern. I tell them, hell no, not down here in this basement. No, not gonna happen.
Let's see. Trico says, "Last call. Internships are rough. It's like Hunger Games, only more violent." Yeah. We'll
yeah.
We'll trebuchet people. And Lewis says, let's see here. He says, well, you have to fight for comics too, but tattooing work is more diversified stylistically. In comics, the industry tends to frown upon you for being able to do multiple styles of work.
Yeah, that's pretty true. If you can't draw like Jim Lee, they don't want to talk to you on the mainstream right now. So,
you gonna leave Jim Lee alone.
I hound on Jim Lee a lot because he's he's a prime example and he deserves it.
My wife.
You go back to the 80s, you go back to the 80s and 90s, and you take a look at some of the best artists out there were the ones that were individuals and didn't draw like, the next guy coming in or the next big hot thing. They were the big hot thing.
Yeah. I have a Jim Lee wallet.
We all have our guilty pleasures, buddy. And I don't mean, I'm not jabbing at you personally. It's just the way it is.
I have a Jim Lee wallet.
The problem is that there's 25 other people out there who draw exactly like Jim Lee. And, it gets to a point where you really don't want to try to distinguish them.
And the biggest tragedy of it all is I'm not one of them. I don't
know what to tell you there.
Yeah, I have to draw like whoever it is I draw like. I don't know.
That just saves you from being a cog, buddy. That's a good thing, not a bad thing.
His artwork. My wife says it's too scratchy. She recognizes it looks good, but she says it's too scratchy for her. She likes
your artwork or his artwork?
His.
Why would that be too scratchy?
Yeah, she says it's like way too scratchy for her, and I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about, but she does. She doesn't like it, but she likes J. Scott Campbell. She likes Art.
Same thing.
She likes Art Adams.
J. Scott Campbell though draws bigger eyes.
She likes Mike Turner.
He might. Well, Turner, he had kind of a distinguishable style there for a while.
I'm not her favorite artist at all. I don't even know where I rank on her list. I think I'm probably like 6 or 7.
I've never bothered to ask my wife if I was her favorite artist.
You have to.
I'd be afraid of the response. I don't know. She reads Zenoscope, so hey,
Trico said, every time Randy riffs on Jim Lee, a Rob Liefeld drawing gets his feet.
Oh, now come on. You got to have some respect for the Liefeld. He's working towards his retirement real good. He's straightened himself out. He's been hitting deadlines. He's,
Let's see. Lewis says,
there's somebody named Danny Quick. Hey, Danny, how you doing?
Yeah, Danny Quick is my rival. He's one of my great rivals. He's one
of your great rivals.
Yeah. We have a love-hate relationship. I love to hate on him.
Scratchy is a technical term for like Michelangelo. I don't know. Like Michelangelo is probably a technical term for like Michelangelo. Scratchy's just a term for scratchy. It's all right. When I draw, I sketch.
Yeah.
Unless I'm drawing on a dry whiteboard in front of a bunch of students.
Lewis says, not even that. Look at Byrne. Even though we all know him for one style, the Neil Adams influence, he's been published in the Bruce Timm DC Animated Universe style, emulating Wendy Peeney in ElfQuest and others.
Yeah, I saw John Byrne did a cover for the Comic Reader one time. That was Power Man and Iron Fist, as if it was drawn by Don Martin. It was a stroke of genius. It was amazing.
I have a book. I have to go get it. Hold on, Randy. Entertain everyone while I go grab this book. And I'll
entertain what? Entertain? How long are you gonna be?
not. I won't be gone long.
Hey, folks, let me tell you about the time I was in the deep woods. No. Anyway.
Oh, not that story. That story's horrible.
That story is horrible.
Hold
Yeah, well, hey, I've been working on doing the Formar stuff, the Preservers Superhero Trail, for the last month. I'm almost halfway through it, and I got about 7 signs yet to color. It's turning out really good. I'm drawing it all on the good old Cintiq Wacom board, so it's going pretty fast. I can't wait to be past it though, so that I can get back up on the Zim Geek YouTube channel and start putting more content up on that. That's the immediate plans. I stopped Flint Comics at number 100. We're having a show this weekend here at the Flint Farmers Market. Hope to see most of you there. However many are still watching us. There's 8 watching us now. So hello, all 8 of you. You can type into the chat. Let's have a talk. Dave the Supreme is here. Trico's here. Lewis is here. Danny's here. So you can be there too. Now we're just here. Varian and I try to do this every Tuesday just to shoot the breeze, talk about the industry, stir things up a little bit, complain about Jim Lee, the usual stuff.
I'm back.
You're back. You're back. We complain about the market more than Jim Lee. Poor Jim Lee,
I have this book, Wizard Big Book of Covers.
The who what?
The Wizard Big Book of Covers.
Yeah, you got that cheap, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How did I know that? Well, it has Wizard in the title. Pick that up at an Ollie's?
No, actually, I was
Books
at
a Million?
No, I was at Wizard and I got it for free.
Oh, cool. There you go.
Yeah.
That's the best price for Wizard covers.
So they have issue.
That's the ideal Flint price point right there.
Issue 32 from 94.
Uh-huh.
It's a Todd McFarlane and Frank Miller collaboration. So it's Spawn and Batman. I'm gonna put this image up. Can anybody tell me what's wrong with this image? I don't know if you guys can see it. Oh man, it's yeah, here it is.
I'm watching the YouTube feed as you hit the mic with your book.
Yeah.
Which image?
Let me see if I can find it online. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can find it. That'll be a lot clearer.
Are you asking what's wrong with it?
Yeah.
Why you find something disturbingly wrong?
Yeah.
Other than the fact that it's Batman and Spawn together?
Batman and Spawn together is kind of cool. Kind of cool.
We all have our guilty pleasures, buddy. Who did that? Miller and Liefeld?
No, Miller and McFarlane.
Miller, yeah, that's what I meant. Miller and McFarlane. Sorry.
Let's see here.
That back leg looks way crazy.
Of course, that
it's a collaborative piece. They're both working on different planes. You have McFarlane's kind of flat, straight on, and Miller's always bent. But whatever works for their personality. You're buffering here. That's weird. Yeah, on the YouTube feed.
Yeah.
That's
and of course it went away when I went to go click it, but here's the piece here.
Let me jump back to the main feed. Oh, okay. I see it now. Yeah, they're working on two different planes there. I mean, Batman's more of a worm's eye view and McFarlane's kind of flat on.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? Because mine was a lot more practical, I think, and just.
But you want me to critically pick it apart and talk about how bad the cape work is, and Batman doesn't look right. He's out of proportion. His hands are way too big for the rest of his body, and stuff like that. Or what? The fact that he's got a gun looks like he's got a gun. Enlarge that. Whoop, nope. That jump screen.
Yeah,
Suddenly we've seen your Facebook. You've been outed. You've been doxxed, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't make that enlarge on my Cintiq. I'm sitting here trying to enlarge the thing so that I can get a closer look at it. The muscle structure looks goofy.
Mine is so my reason for asking what the fuck is a lot more. I'm not hating. It's a good piece. I like it, but mine is a lot more practical and a lot more.
The chain isn't very realistic.
You want to hear mine?
Yeah.
Maybe someone on the YouTube has said it since then.
He's got a golf ball in the background for a moon. Is that what you're saying?
There's the moon,
Yeah.
and there's the moon.
And where's the moon?
There's a moon by Batman. That
Yeah.
here.
Yep.
Then there's a moon by Spawn.
Is there? I guess there is. It's kind of hidden back there.
Yeah.
Well, it's on a planet with 2 moons.
I looked at them like, that's pretty weird.
Tell you the truth, the Spawn there, the little energy blast that he's got out of his right hand looks very similar to P. Craig Russell. I mean, amazingly similar to a P. Craig Russell drawing.
I have no idea who that is.
You are joking, right?
P. Craig Russell.
P. Craig Russell. Killraven?
Oh, yeah. I didn't know the name.
Elric of Melnibone?
I know Killraven.
Oh, he did a ton of stuff, but that really looks like one of his hands and one of his power blasts. Doesn't look McFarlane-esque at all. With the little circles on there and the blast. Oh, yeah.
Personally, I think it looks like Dane J. Quick drew it. But
okay.
I have to a jab. But I also have these books from Wizard, which I got for signing up for Wizard Magazine.
The collected works of Mark Silvestri, Jim Lee, and Michael Turner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they stood on my. I'm gonna get this one signed at Motor City, the Jim Lee one. Should have got the Michael.
Gonna get an e-ticket, huh?
I'm hoping to be able to catch them like I caught Neil Adams and Frank Cho.
I think I told you the last show I was at that Jim Lee was at.
Mm-hmm.
I got a couple of awesome books signed.
Oh.
Yeah, because there was no crowd at all there for R. Crumb and Harvey Picar.
Let's see.
I got a whole set of. I got my Zap 0 and 1 and 2 signed by Robert Crumb. Got to talk to him for a few minutes. Jim Lee, on the other hand, he was an e-ticket attraction. You had to get a special ticket to stand in a special line in order to get anything signed by Jim. It's one of the last shows that Crumb did here in the States.
There's I was looking at the messages, the chat, and Batman's pose, Batman's arm, his cape, Spawn's hands look off. Hashtag Batman's got a gun. Trico says they're on Tatooine because of the 2 moons.
I can see that.
Yes.
This is typical 90s image art. Yes, it is. But that blast still looks like P. Craig Russell's work. Yeah, Sandman.
Yeah.
Currently doing American Gods with Gaiman over at Dark Horse. I didn't know he was still he was doing stuff on a regular basis, but good for him. I hope
have you
it
seen
looks as good as his older stuff?
Have you seen this, Randy? This is my Jim Lee art, Jim Lee wallet. It's from the Jim Lee collection.
Hang on just a second. I'm jumping back from the YouTube feed to the.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. Yeah. Hey, great. Cool.
Yeah.
All good.
It's got a scratchy art on it. It was a gift.
Put that in a bag. You never know. Jim Lee might actually be worth something someday.
You have problems with Jim. Jim is a great artist.
Oh, no. I just pick on him because he looks like everybody else. So.
Yeah, no, I do think that I have another question for you.
Okay.
And you've been in the industry a lot, And
I'm an old man in the industry.
Is this? Then we're getting into trouble now.
You're gonna get me in trouble if I was in a curmudgeon mood earlier.
Should have got you then, man.
You should have. I'm sure I would have said something terrible.
Is this? And then we have a follow-up question about the cons. But is this an industry or a community? Comics.
It's a joke. What are you talking about? Is this an industry or a community?
Mm-hmm.
It's actually, I hate to say both, but it's not really, it's not really a community. It's a bunch of, who is it? Ethan had an awesome tweet that I wanted to screen capture, that somebody was talking to him about the community and he compared them all to gossiping old ladies. Your boy Zach says it's all a Mean Girls mentality anymore. That's all it is. That's all up there in the mainstream, if you want to call that mainstream. It's the industry. If you're doing the, who said that today? That's somebody. I listened to a couple of videos while I'm working down here when I'm not listening to books on tape. That if you're making money in the industry, you're in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
If you're, a cog and kissing your behind of an editor up at Marvel and DC that wants you to do things that you don't necessarily feel is politically correct just so you can get a paycheck, then I guess you're in the community. If you're having to demean yourself with terrible writing or terrible art or slipshod stuff for characters that you don't want to draw, then
Right.
I you know how I feel about that.
I have a follow-up question. Some things I've heard and been told, and
It's not true. I did not do that.
I was set straight. No. I was set straight on
that was a long time ago, and there were drugs involved.
I was set
I don't
straight
take any responsibility for that.
It was like the 70s were a lot of fun. I'm paying for it now.
If you get the right mushrooms, buddy, you don't have to come back.
They
and only if you want to sit through a decompression chamber.
Oh man, decompression chamber is it's nuts. I've never been in one of those. They it's the Comic-Con that we won't name
again.
Let me bring everybody.
Just some things you need to let go, buddy.
Let me bring everybody up to speed here. There's a Comic-Con that charges for the table $300. It's not in Michigan, where we're based.
There we go. It's a glorified clique group of arrested adolescents who are largely infighting over who's top gun. That's what Lewis says.
Yeah, he's got a point there. He's got a point.
He does.
Yeah.
He does.
This convention, they charge $300 for a table. Once you get there this is for Artist Alley. Once you're in Artist Alley, you cannot handle money at all. Not allowed to handle money as an artist. And what you must do is go get a coupon. You take that coupon with your I guess that person has to go to the counter. They get they get your name and how much the item is. They go to the kiosk. They come back with a coupon. They give you the coupon. You give them the item. You keep the coupon. At the end of the show, you take the coupon in and you give it to the staff. They take that coupon and they make sure that you get paid. You'll get a check in 6 to 8 weeks, minus 20%. Well, there's some changes.
They're changing their policy
to this year.
Obviously, they weren't listening to our podcast because you're smiling. So there's a new hoop. Hey, let's make them do this so it'll make them feel all the more important.
So now 20% off your check is no more. It's different now.
Okay.
It's 10% per 100.
So after $1,000, they keep all your money? 10% per 100. It's just 10% then, right?
Well, it's 10% per 100. So I'm wondering if
you get the first 100, he keeps 10%. You get another 100, they keep 20%.
I'm thinking so. Because what I got is 10% per 100. Unless it's 10%.
That doesn't make sense.
It might be 10% each 100.
Oh, yeah. Well, then they would be able to round up and make more, get a little off of you, extra off of you, get 101. That's $20. Round up.
Yeah.
I don't know. My feelings about that still stand from the last 2 weeks, buddy. It's kind of a dead horse. that I feel sorry for anybody who has to do that show in order to try to make money, or that thinks that doing that show will expand their exposure, because you're surrounded by a bunch of people there who don't want you there, and it's demeaning, and it's pimping. So,
as a trusted member of the media, I have to get the news out. I have to get the word out that they've changed their policy. It's 10% per 100.
As a trusted member of the media?
Yep.
Okay.
I have to get the word out that they've changed.
I think it's more important that Larry Hama get a goddamn cup of coffee when he's in Philadelphia. God bless that man.
Hey,
I'm going to make shirts. Get Larry Hama a cup of coffee. I should bring extra coffee any show I do that Larry Hama is at. Buddy, I love you, buddy. Here, have an extra cup of coffee,
You got to bring him the coffee. I think that
that finally hit one of the other news media today that just decided it was important enough to say he couldn't find one when he was in Philadelphia. That wasn't Rick Johnston. So, slow news day. Waiting for Endgame to come out.
He needs his coffee. He's got to get it.
Everybody needs their coffee. What the hell? It's the juice of life. And peyote.
Let me see here if I can bring up. Now you've got. And let me see here.
Lewis says $10 for every $100. Either way, it's BS. Yeah, we established that.
Yeah, it's
that is the show you think it is.
Let's see here.
It's not a happy show. It's never been a happy show. Anybody who, anybody in the comic business that goes there, like I said, they're just treated like second-class citizens. So need to have more respect for themselves, especially considering, Avengers 4 is going to be breaking $3 billion in the next 2 weeks. Holy
and
crap.
Here we go. Speaking of shows, can you see that?
I see it. It's only 3 days left. Holy crap.
Yeah.
I got a lot of work to do.
Flint Comics Con is upon us.
10 hours, 19 minutes. How come Trico's not on there? He's not coming?
Yeah, Trico, what gives? I think he's busy. I think he's busy this weekend.
He's busy doing something. He's got his hair to wash or something.
And then we'll go to these people. You can kind of, there we go. You can kind of tell us who's all.
Lewis is on point. That's what Trico says. Okay.
Let's see here. That's you. That's me looking at myself. Okay. All right.
Stop staring at yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, you look so pretty. You're Scott Rosebud? No, you're Jennifer Cool. There you go.
So we got Mark. And Mark is a comedian.
Yes.
He writes Funny Man Mark Wanto in the Flint paper.
Yeah, I used to write Mark's My Words.
Okay.
Yep.
We have Jennifer, who is now she does quite a bit for.
She was our main sales associate. Are you still there? Obviously, your mic has dropped off. Well, cool. Let me switch back here. Apparently, Varian's probably going to have to step out and walk back in. So, buddy, I hope you come back. I hate talking to myself. But anyway, hey, what's going on in the chat? He has a history thing. Is Trico leaving too? Or are you boasting? You have a history thing. But anyway, I'm hoping that Varian pops back here soon. And we are down to 7 watching now. So apparently either Trico dropped out or Varian is still out of the office. So, I was going to talk about some stuff this week and I'm trying to think of it. I've just been working on those signs. That's what I've been working on. Drawing frogs, frogs and stick bugs. So it's all good. Can't really pull much of it up here. You have a history thing on Saturday. Oh, so he's going to be there. Trico's going to be at the con in the afternoon. That's good. Good. Be good to see you, buddy. You need to join the. You need to join us here in the chat. I understand. Where is Varian? He should be popping back in here anytime now. Let me check there. Waiting for people to join this video call. Yep. All right. So we're still going to keep talking. Hey. Oh, I got to think about what I was going to talk about. Let me jump back here for a second. See what's going on. Nothing much on Facebook, nothing much on Twitter. Haven't been banging around on the social nets very much because I'm behind on deadline. Been listening to books on tape whenever I'm not listening to YouTube vids. One of my favorite YouTube vids channels right now is The Fourth Age. Guy seems to know what he's talking about a lot. He's got some really good opinions. He's got a background in political psychology. And he talks about how the current writers mainstream writers are messing up. Hours of show this Saturday are the usual 9 to 5. I'm going to be there at 6 in the morning, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, probably with donuts. So, and it'll be in the market, which has every kind of food that you can imagine. So, be plenty to eat, lots to do, lots to see, lots of fun. So like I said, Fourth Age, he just had a real nice video on what makes up a hero that was incredibly fascinating. If you haven't heard him yet, that's the Fourth Age. Fourth Age, he says, is a heroic age. Coffee, always coffee. Yep. One of these days, you know, if we can build up enough viewership and Varian gets enough people, he's got just a couple hundred subscribers. I haven't even broke 100 on Zim Geek yet, but I haven't been able to concentrate on doing any content for that channel in the last month. So I had to step it back up. Heroic Age. No, that's the channel name is The Fourth Age, which he calls the Heroic Age. Talks about comics, writing heroes in comics, that kind of thing. No. He's talking about how there needs to be a heroic age in comics, not the any particular age of comics in general. He's talking about writing heroes, doing heroes, making heroes, and how Marvel and DC are doing exactly the opposite. They're referring to their characters now as superpowered individuals, not a hero or villain, which is, you know, sadly missed.
So my computer side hates me.
So other than that, it's been Sweetcast and the Umbrella Guy. They're kind of wrapped up in a lot of Comics Gate type drama that gets a little dull after a while. Bunch of spoiled kids. I see Varian's probably switched his stuff around, though his microphone still isn't active. Yeah, coming back in. Can you talk yet? You can't talk yet. He's got his symbol up. He's not back up on it yet. Needs to be a heroic age, understanding the structure of the hero's journey. Exactly. Yes, that's part of what he talks about. Goes back into ancient Greek myths, that kind of stuff. I like him. He talks a lot of sense. Other than that, it's been books on tape for me. I've been revisiting the wonderful world of Tarzan. That I read Tarzan of the Apes when it was first out. If you haven't read it, it's an interesting book. It's a little, it's written, you know, for the time period back in the 1920s. So almost 100 years ago. So there's a lot of misogynist and a lot of backwards, you know, stereotype thinking, but it's still an amazing piece of work. Very much a soap opera for men, for manly men. Anyway, Simba the lion and his relationship with the apes, that kind of thing. I'm up to almost in the middle of Return of Tarzan, which is really good. A lot of fun. Read quite a bit of Edgar Rice Burroughs when I was a kid. So I was gonna do a video one of these times as soon as I can start doing content on a regular basis about how a lot of these writers need to sit down and read some of this old comic stuff, like the stuff I got back here. Sorry about that. I didn't jump off to cough because Varian's not back yet. He's still struggling to get on. We're going to have a small intermission while I cough a little bit more. And we should be back. Varian, are you there, buddy? I see your symbol. He got right on today. We hooked right up and jumped on the online, and now his microphone's gone. So, and I thought I had backdated equipment. Yeah, he keeps trying to pop in. I'm not hearing you if you're there, bud. You are not there. You might have to switch back to what works as opposed to what could work. Been reading indie comics such as The Savant's Book by the late Gary Reed, Monstrous by Greg Wright from Source Point. Well, like I said, we all have our guilty pleasures. I've been reading, I'm trying to get into Graveyard Shift by John Malin. It's an interesting book, just hit $105 on eBay. Bigfoot Bill, I think, just sold for $100 the other day. Bigfoot Bill was a nice product, really nice. Other than that, there's not a lot of mainstream stuff I've been reading.
Can you hear me now?
Listening to a lot of stuff more than anything. Don't listen to comics, though. Listen to comic commentary. So Varian keeps trying to pop in. You see his logo pop up and out every once in a while, but he's not coming back into the conversation. We lost somebody else. We lost a couple other people, too.
Not hearing me?
Sorry to see you go. Sorry I can't keep you. Varian ought to be back soon. There's lots of more stuff to talk about.
Let's see here.
If you have a topic, you hear him. I don't hear him, Lewis. He's not there on me.
Let's see.
Buddy, you're not there. I see your logo. Do I need to jump in and out?
That might help.
Give me a 2 if it's me. I'll jump back out and pop back in. Give me a 2 in the chat if I need to jump out. I probably do because I keep seeing your logo. It's come and go, buddy. So Lewis says. I see you.
Yeah, I switched to my tablet.
I see you. I don't hear you.
Let's make a couple other changes here.
Nope, I don't hear you at all. We always have this problem before we go live.
How about now?
So whatever it is, need to jump it up. This is going to be really entertaining for that live feed. Well, one guy just couldn't come back on the air, and the other guy just kept jabbering.
Let's see here. I don't know if...
Still doing classes 4 days a week, teaching cartooning after school. That's a lot of fun. If you ever get a chance to do that and you've got the talent for it, it's real easy. Easy to teach. One of the classes, I've got a teacher sitting in, copying everything I'm doing. I have a sneaking suspicion she'll be holding her own classes here shortly. So it's just like the classes that I have on the Zim Geek channel. Varian, you have your microphone off. I'm showing your microphone is off. You have muted yourself. Says he switched to his tablet, still not working. You seem to buy a lot of digital social media funded books, but you avoid the mainstream indie books. Mainstream indie books are not that good. I haven't found a series that I remotely want to read. But then again, I haven't looked at a previews for a while. I think there's a mess in the indie market that's kind of bleeding over from Marvel and DC. You get a lot of the same talented people from Marvel and DC are going over to Image and Boom and IDW and all that, and they're taking their to be totally blunt, their lack of talent with them. You know, there's so many more experienced people out there that I'd rather read or look at that just aren't in the market anymore. They're not doing regular product. Yeah, that's part of the problem, and they're all contributing to the shrinking numbers. Lewis says the same people are everywhere at the same time. That's all part of that community that's set up. This is why IDW is so close to bankruptcy. You know, they don't have Mama and Daddy's Mama Marvel and Daddy DC's purse strings to hang on to, unless they're licensing the Marvel characters. You know, there's always gold amongst the crap. You know, there's always little glimmers here and there, but a lot of my comic reading, when I sit and have the time to read, I go back and dig up the old stuff. That's the stuff you see back here. A lot of that in the rack. Well, most of it's mine, but that's the idea. An old hot stuff book that I can buy for 50 cents. I'd rather read that than try to absorb a modern comic. You know, much better than Squirrel Girl or Ms. Marvel with the wonderful proctology glove cover, or that kind of stuff. A lot to be said for those old comic strips. I'm very sorry who stopped Flint Comics, because I had a wish list of strips I would have loved to have kept gotten up and printed, like the Starhawks and the Manning Tarzans, that kind of stuff that didn't get around to being able to do it. He keeps trying to pop back in. Can you hear him out there in the chat? Is Lewis, or not Lewis, but is Varian alive in the chat? Anybody hear him? I can see his eyes. Watching in the chat, we just lost 3 people, buddy. People are getting bored and leaving. We were up to a whole 8 people at one point. Not at the moment. You're not coming through, Varian. Whatever you're doing isn't working. We are still live. We're still waiting for Varian to pop back up. He said he had a couple more questions for me. I'm just trying to think of what else come out this week. I lead a very, very dull life when I'm behind on my commercial work. Still waiting for you to come in, bud. Any questions? I think Lewis is probably the only one left out there. There's 5 people watching now, so apparently it's Varian trying to get on and off the air, perhaps. We still lost 3. We had 3 other people listening at one point. They should have wished they'd have spoken up and popped into the chat. Trek Discovery. Oh, yeah, there we go. Not watching that because you have to pay for CBS. I do like Anson Mount, though. Like him as an actor. And I kind of enjoy him as Pike. I saw the first episode. Hi, Trico. They put the first episode of Discovery up on YouTube. I wish they'd go ahead and put it all up on Netflix. These streaming services are going to have some time to weed themselves out, and they will weed themselves out. Disney's got the upper hand, though, because they own so much stuff. Their streaming service is going to be a powerhouse. They're going to stay out there long enough to chase a couple of them away and then move their price up. I suspect they'll be $10 before the end of a couple of years instead of $6.99 that they're at now. Yeah, waiting for the DVD collection. I haven't sat through my DVR right now is backed up with way too much stuff. I'm about 100 episodes behind. I had a season of In the Badlands. It's recording now. I got a season of the last half of Walking Dead, which I understand is probably not worth watching, and a few other things. I'm still staying up with most of the comic book stuff. I'm way behind on Black Lightning. I'm falling behind on Legends. But Flash, I'm up with. Supergirl, I'm kind of tolerating. The writing on that's been atrocious the last couple of years. I really didn't like the way they were writing Mon-El. Kind of an insult because I like that character a lot. So, but the other stuff, how long Arrow's only going to be on for half a season next year? I suspect that Arrow's going to sacrifice himself in Crisis, that they've been planning on it for a while, and Amel just wants to get out. So, what do you think? What are you watching now? I'm looking at the chat, so pipe in. Lost interest in the CW stuff. Lost interest in all them. The DC stuff looks interesting. I wish DC again was on Netflix because I'd sit and watch Doom Patrol. That looks awesome. Doom Patrol looks really good. I understand the DC streaming service is having a hard time justifying their expenses. But, I'd love to see another season of Young Justice. That was a quality show when silly Cartoon Network had it. It's the only time I'd watched Cartoon Network in a long time. So the Marvel stuff, we're collecting the Cloak and Dagger. Shield's about to start back up. I'm not, give or take pretty much on both of those shows. When the Marvel stuff starts up on the Disney streaming service, though, that's going to be crazy. That's absolutely insane, the stuff that they're talking about doing. But I guess it all hinges on how Endgame finishes out, how the timeline settles, I suppose. Let them start their mutant stuff and have the FF pop in. There's a lot of shows that are like that, like S.H.I.E.L.D. You said S.H.I.E.L.D. ended last season for you. You were watching Killing Eve, too, and that ended last season for me, too. It was fun to watch, but it's just done. Cloak and Dagger, I just haven't been able to get into. Cloak and Dagger was a slow burn. It started out slow. It's kind of made for binging. It's also on Freeform too, so you have to. The content on that program is worse than the Hallmark Channel, as far as quality goes. So you kind of have to bear with it for a while. But it did pick up towards the end of the season, especially once they start figuring out their powers. So that's got a lot of potential. I just wish they'd treated Bill Mantlo better. That's something. He's still hurting for funds, which he shouldn't be, considering the characters that he created and the stuff that the money that Marvel has made off of him. Marvel should just be quietly making sure he lives comfortably. It's not like he can deal or do much on his own, but Mantlo needs a little respect. It's like Starlin. At least that Starlin went out to see the premiere of Endgame. He had pictures up on Facebook that looked really cool. I think the big thing that I'm on that Starlin remark, Lewis. I think with the Endgame stuff, I think that's a peak. I think they're planning on that being a peak for a while. There'll be a little bit of catch up afterwards, Spider-Man and Black Widow movie, that kind of thing, unless they shift the timeline around. But I think that they're not going to build themselves up to another epic. You might see them run in little waves where characters are going to bump into one another, but I'd be surprised. I don't think we're going to see another big mega crossover like this unless they do Secret Wars or A versus X, which is going to take them at least 5 years to build into. I think it's going to be a while. Why is Roy Thomas raising a fuss with DC?
Does that work?
Lewis?
Nothing at all, huh? Can't hear me?
All these guys that are still alive just want to work. You know, they just don't want to work for the people that are up there. I see you. I see you, Varian. I don't hear you.
Yeah.
Nope.
Trying to figure out why.
You're coming in on the chat though. You're on
Yeah.
the main feed. Lewis
You may,
hears
have,
you.
you may have to sign out and come back in.
If you think you're up, I'll pop in and out and see if that has anything to do with it. Trico can hear you. It's just me. I can't hear you. I'm going to pop out and pop back into the chat. Are you there? Give me a thumbs up. All right. I'm going out then. I'll be right back. Back into the chat.
Let's see.
Let's see. How do I escape? How do I escape from here? No. It's that Magic X. Ah. I'm not going to close
like a drug.
tabs, so.
Magic X.
Be right back.
Sounds like a drug. You're welcome to my kitchen. It's because I was trying to figure out a place to sit my tablet. I switched over to my tablet because it never fails me. It's a Surface. I use it to draw on mainly, but actually, that's a lie. I bought it to draw on. I never actually really get a chance to draw on it. I was told to give myself 2 weeks of exclusively drawing on the tablet, but to me, I just can't do it. I can't do it for 2 weeks. I've tried and it doesn't work for me. So it becomes my portable porn device with a nice big wide screen. You can really check out, you can see everything you need to see. It's nice and big. Yeah, because my phone just wasn't cutting it. But this is pretty big, so I like that. Yeah, I got back in. I think like we're trying to summon Varian. Yeah, it's like summoning the beast. So we got something interesting going on at Flint Comics too. I don't know what Randy was at, but I'll be there as Last Call Comics, and then upstairs, the farmers market has 2 stories. Randy told me that I can get a room upstairs to do Indie Vault stuff in, so we'll have JoJo there to do a couple of interviews with people who walk around the con. Then Sunday, we're leaving out to go down to Space, which is an indie con.
I think I'm back.
Hey.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. You're 5 by 5.
Excellent.
All right. You were talking about Flint Comics.
Yeah. So we'll be up. So I'll have Indie Vault there, and I'll have Last Call Comics there, and yeah. And Trico asked if I drew on any new characters lately. Doing that tonight, Trico. Doing that tonight. That's one of my plans. I got my art desk all lit up so that I can get to it. Can't wait for that. Randy, check out the link for the Roy Thomas stuff.
Which Roy Thomas stuff?
Lewis just sent that into the chat. He said, check out the link for the Roy Thomas stuff.
Where is that? I am looking.
I think I like live streaming in my kitchen. The food's all here. Oh, you guys check out this. Hold on.
We can see those strange bottles on your top shelf.
Oh, the little flowers and type of liquid. I don't know what type of liquid that is. It might be formaldehyde. It's never.
Which link are you talking about? The link above it. The link above what? I see. Check out the link for the Roy Thomas stuff. Draw any cool characters lately. Now we're waiting for Randy. Trying to Varian. I don't see a link there.
Dave, Space is in Columbus, Ohio.
The same weekend as yeah, it's next weekend.
Yeah.
Next weekend.
This weekend.
Yeah, because Corby called me up and complaining that I hit his same weekend again, which I have done off and on. I keep moving my show, he moves his show.
Yeah. You didn't see my I should have did an Indie Vote live broadcast with my new mic. Like Randy Zimmerman steals space. Day and date.
Yeah, Corby called me and asked if he could make a voodoo doll, and stick pins in it for charity. A voodoo doll of me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a cool microphone.
Yeah. Just got the flag, and I've did some other alterations to it.
Cool. Now you can send your reporter around, be official.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm from Indie Volt Radio. See my cone? Come here.
Yep. He sent the message to your Facebook Messenger.
Well, of course, that's because I'm on Explorer. In order to talk to you, I have to pop back up. Yeah, there it is. Lewis messaged me.
So,
oh,
Randy?
Tony Isabella, come on, please. Tony's a nice guy and all, but he's very misguided, and just like a lot of these professionals, very uninformed about what's going on outside of his window. I'm trying to be nice. Am I not being nice?
I'm informed. No, I'm not professional. But
I didn't say you weren't informed.
I know. No, I'm not professional. I wonder if
I see he sent me a Tony Isabella post. That's all. Sorry, this content isn't available right now. So
he says no, he quoted Roy.
He did. Okay. Yeah, the Facebook link that Lewis sent me does not go through. So not only did he quote Roy, he must have regretted it.
I personally have tried to I've been a couple of comic arts professionals have said something to me online. The only one that ever really kind of ticked me off, I'll tell the story here, was and I screenshotted it because I couldn't believe it happened. I got home from being at the market, and it said I had a Twitter notification. Now I don't use Twitter that often, so when I get a notification, I get excited. And it said Dan Slott mentioned you in a tweet. And I said, holy shit, Dan Slott mentioned me in a tweet. I gotta check it out. So I grab up my phone, I'm going through it, and I click on it, and it says, hey, he added me and someone else, and he said, you two follow someone who refers to me as human garbage. You might not want to follow me then. And
he referred that to you?
He said that me and this guy follow someone who referred to him as human garbage.
I'd have wrote Dan back and said, who the heck are you talking about? There's only about 36 or so people that I follow that consider you to be human garbage. Which one specifically, so that I know?
Well, I asked him, I said, who, sir? And he never replied, ever. So I went back about 8 months ago to see if the tweet was still up, and he totally deleted the tweet. He deleted it. My who, sir tweet is still there, but it doesn't connect to anything. It looks like I just tweeted who, sir.
It's just closeted illiterates, you know. They're just the typical of the talent that's there writing for these companies anymore. They don't want to get out of their basement. They don't want to think for themselves. They're just cogs. They're sitting there in the machine. Tick, 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 tick. That's all they do all day. And they just follow the other cogs as they all mesh together.
I was so upset. I was like, what?
That's your community.
Well, I was upset that he added me as if I was
he's added you just to tell you off.
Yeah, in front with his, I mean, all his followers can see that, like, oh, this guy
makes him look big.
Yeah, and I'm like, who do I follow? What are you talking about? At this point, I'm naive. This is, I mean, again, this is a while ago. So, like, what did I say? Or who did I follow? And he never said it. And to this day, I don't know who called him human garbage.
It's a circus of Beavises. There's a lot of people out there that have called. I follow people that call Dan Slott human garbage, but I don't follow Dan Slott. So, you know, he's the guy that swapped Peter Parker and Dr. Octopus's brain together. He will forever be known for doing that. He can write 100 really good stories. He's going to be known for that one. Just like you see how much Straczynski's writing in comics anymore. Ever since he did that Spider-Man story that he was told to write from his editor, he went over to DC and wrote some incredible material on Brave and the Bold. Some of the best writing in comics that I have read in years.
I'll read to you.
And now he's gone.
I'll read to you what Roy posted. He says, Lewis posted from Roy. It says, when characters begin to appear in TV series, Hazard live action in The Flash, and Artemis in the animated Young Justice, I contacted DC to inquire about what payment I could expect, and was informed that these characters do not count as my co-creations, or I assume Todd's, since Hazard is the daughter of the Golden Age gambler villain, and Artemis, aka Artemis Croc, the daughter of the Golden Age huntress and sports master villains.
Huh. Okay. You know, that's one of those spin the wheels of the royalties thing. At DC, they decide who's going to get what for what. You know, there's characters out there. I was listening to Ethan. Ethan created a Green Lantern, female Green Lantern character that they've used, and a couple other big major characters. And when he called up to say what's the royalty schedule on that, he doesn't get nothing. And yet, on the other hand, they sent him a huge check for using Iron Heights Prison in the Justice League movie.
Yeah, it's Iron Heights, right? Yeah.
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 So, and he said that was enough to almost, it was a check he expected or wasn't expecting that just came out of the blue. And it's like, hey, guess what? I just got paid something from the Justice League film.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, there nobody's going to, that's one of those checks you run to the bank in cash and just wave. Say, okay, thank you. You hate me now. Guess what? I voted for Trump, but thanks for the cash.
I wonder if I like
they still reprint his stuff in the Super Spectaculars because it's pretty.
You
know.
Randy, when you first started in comics, were there any pompous creators or publishers?
There still are. I mean, that's why we all everybody wanted to get in. All those editors up there were pompous. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm. And were there any that thought they had the industry like figured out? And like I'll tell you, hold on one second, let me grab something to drink.
Did they think they had the industry figured out? That's why I stopped submitting stuff to them. It's because I realized they didn't know what the industry was. You know, we'd started pitching characters that they had no idea that they even owned. That's when I threw my hands up. There was the last round of pitches that I did. I ran across 2 incredibly good editors and a whole batch of really inept ones. And the really good ones didn't stay up there for very long, as they left really relatively quickly after I had gotten done talking to them. So I was going to be real happy to submit stuff to those editors. They had my respect, and I really wanted to work for them. But they didn't stay there long enough for me to get much to them. I mean, I did a favor for one of them that was hilarious, but other than that, I just stopped submitting stuff because I lost my respect for anybody up there. And then you had the milkshake girls. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, the reason I asked is because there was a Comic-Con about 3-4 years ago, and I was setting up my stuff, and it was before the show. Show was maybe like 40 minutes to open, and as I usually do, I walk around the show floor and talk to people, meet people I have, just say hi to new people that I've never met before. And I go to this table of young guys, and they're 3 guys at the table. They're all like in their 20s. And I say, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm, they're oh hi, and they try to sell me their book almost immediately.
Sure.
Well, I'm gonna buy your book. It looks pretty cool. I'll buy it. It was manga influenced. But then they go to tell me. They said, "Hey, what's the name of your company?" At the time, I didn't have Last Call Comics. I tell them the name of my company, and they tell me, "Oh, cool, we're gonna buy it someday." And I thought,
it's always nice to have goals.
Yeah, that was a low blow.
I just looked at him, tell him I look forward to working with you.
Yeah,
Let's go. Buy
I
away.
didn't.
It's
I didn't
always for
burn the
sale.
bridge. I didn't burn the bridge, but I was like, yeah, that kind of hurt. That was a low blow. I see them at Comic Cons, and I keep thinking,
Dude, you need a thicker skin. These guys are just ambitious kids in the market. They need to be smiled at and told, yeah, come on. You got money? If you got money, you can buy it now.
well, I thought about that since
I'll
I've been
make a
in the
profit off of this show. Come on, buy my company.
And they I've seen them a few times, and every time I think I should go over there and say hi to them and say, hey, waiting for that check, fellas. Where's it at? I need it.
No, you don't want to do that. You're going to discourage them. You'll break their spirits. What do you want to do that for? Lewis, I haven't. I have heard of those authors, Okorafor and LaGuardia, but I haven't read their stuff. So anything that I would tell you would be tainted.
See you Saturday, Trico.
From the reviews. See you, Trico.
We'll see you Saturday.
Next time, damn it, stop by when you can join in.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we're gonna have to get him. We're gonna have to make sure that his computer's set up correctly.
Yeah, so, I've seen some reviews of those people, but that Lewis has mentioned, but I haven't read any of their stuff. Yeah, we need to get Trico set up. We need to get a group in here, get a half a dozen or so we're not next time you lose your microphone like it's gone now. I can still hear your stuff. Oh, you're chewing. So yeah, right. Yeah.
Somebody bought apple fritters. It wasn't me. They just
there you go. Yep. Poof. Suddenly they're there. What were we talking about?
Oh, we're talking about pompous.
Pompous. Every business has got that. It's just like your guys. They got their head full of ego or whatever, and you got to enjoy some aspiration and stay away from the, pains in the asses. Byrne has a reputation for being pompous. I've seen Claremont be pompous before. Everybody has their up and down days,
What artist do you think would be better suited to leave mainstream comics? I'm talking about, Marvel and DC and come to indies.
All of them? Well, I don't know. I don't know anymore. It's hard to say. The majority of these guys just they need to take over comics in their own country. That's the big thing. But I guess that's the separatist in me. Anyway, that probably came out wrong. But there's so many workhorses out there now that's looking for work, and the people that get hired are the people that'll will do the same work at $35 a page instead of somebody who's proven to sell millions and millions of comics.
What do you think about that? Because I see it. I'm as a matter of fact, I'll admit it. One of the artists for one of the books that I published through Last Call, he's from the Philippines, and he's a phenomenal talent. But that same money that he's asking per page could go to somebody like Dave Brown.
And a lot of the modern comic guys have lowered their standards and their page rates. They're just looking to work.
Dave, are you willing to work for someone else outside of your own company? Are you willing to do a comic? I'll see what he says if he's still around. I personally don't mind working for other people. I think my page rate is right there with I think it's comparable and comparable to some of the overseas rates.
Well, back in the late 70s, Jim Warren discovered the Filipino artists and was paying them low rates. But he was lucky enough to discover quite a few that had very individual styles. Cruz and comes to mind, Morodo, who is incredibly good. And I think I don't know if Nino come out of there or if he just broke into comics with some Warren magazines and working at Marvel and DC at the same time. But Alex Nino is still somebody I just look at in awe. You know who Alex Nino is, right? Yeah, I mean, you didn't know who P. Craig Russell is.
Yeah,
Alex Nino.
Alex Nee, I think I've seen his work. His last name is Nino.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah. You wouldn't forget it if you saw it. It's give me a few weeks. I'll do a set of artists that everybody ought to be looking at instead of the mainstream copycats.
If I'm not on the list, I'm suing.
You're what?
So if I'm not on the list, I'm suing.
Get your lawyer.
Now, do you think that Lewis, what do you feel? Do you feel that like I've been talking to artists from the Philippines now who are telling me their page ratings are $250 a page, pencils, inks, and colors.
That's a little high.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're shooting for the moon there. They think you got money.
Yeah, streets are paved with gold here in America. You know that.
Well, even still, $250 a page over there, they'd be living like kings. They could pay their rent and probably live for a week off of one page.
Yeah, they $250 a page. I've seen that. I've seen something on Facebook. I should have screenshotted it so I could have put it up on the show. I think I'm gonna start doing that. My computer malfunctioned. That's why I end up signing off. That typical comic, producer typical comic, and I guess he's the writer. He's not the artist or anything. Is just under $6,000. Just under $6,000.
A book?
Yeah.
Huh.
I think that's really overpriced. But at the same time, I draw, so I draw and write. So I don't know if I'm somehow saving money because I do those things, or I guess I am.
Is that for everything or for just art?
That's art, inking, coloring, lettering.
$6,000, huh?
Yeah, that doesn't include printing. That he made sure to list that does not include printing.
Huh.
I've brought comics in way lower than that.
Well, yeah, but this guy is, that's only $272 a page.
Yeah,
for a 22-page book.
Hmm.
And considering if all you need is a little bit exposure in coloring a page and getting a taste of how much time goes into it, that's probably close to a steal. $275 a page. But you got to figure the penciler's probably 100 and maybe 125. The inker's probably, wow. Yeah, that's a deal. Inker's probably 100. Penciler's probably 2, maybe 250. No, that wouldn't be right. I don't know. It's still $275 a page for everything from the ground floor except for script.
What do you think? Like, I know some artists, I know some publishers that they have floppies on their table at shows, and their floppies are $10, $20, 30 page, 22 or 22 page, sometimes 60 page floppy. I've seen 60 page floppies, which are nice looking. They're big thick books. $20, $25. What's your feelings on that? Is that a response to books costing just about $6,000 to do?
No, I think that's a response to books costing about $3,000 to print, or not $3,000, but about $3 a unit to print. Somebody's trying to get a little extra money out of the cons. That's all. That's all that is. They're trying to sell more their personality than the value of the product.
Yeah, I don't know if I print my books usually come in at about. I don't make much money on the books, honestly. I was printing. I think my books are coming in about $2.75 per issue. That's for a full color 22, 24 page book. I do have a book.
I can get a book printed at Michigan Web Press. Those Preservers books are 16 cents a unit.
Yeah, you were telling me that.
Try to figure that one out.
Yeah, my black and white book that I have.
That's why Alterna only charges $1.50.
Yeah. My black and white book will print for $1.60.
And yet Ron Mars wants to tell you that newsprint is expensive. You know, did you catch that exchange between Ron Mars and Peter Cimeti?
No, I didn't.
Ron Mars said that you shouldn't print on newsprint because it's expensive. It's in demand. And Cimeti goes, well, that's funny because I get newsprint all the time and I get it printed for a lot cheaper than what I do a regular book. And I put $1.50, $1.99 on my comic, and it's a good price structure.
Preservers is 60 cents a unit. That's not bad.
Well, it only looks like a comic too. It's about 1/4 of an inch thinner, but it still fits into a comic bag. I do a comic like that. In that format. Pardon.
You got and I'm looking right behind you there. You got that Hero Bot I see, and
yeah, that Hero Bot was a big. I ordered quite a few of that. That's a print on demand book. So that's full color. But my I think I got $7 marked on that. Yeah, I got $7 marked on that. That's about $3.33 a unit, which I consider to be high. Even for the paper that it's printed on. But you know, when you can only have to buy 50, 75 of them, you're going to pay a little bit more per unit. The Lindy Jacks here is in black and white, and that's $1.80 a unit. But even back when we were printing with Printy was 80 cents a unit, I think 82 cents.
Do you remember when everybody printed through Quebecer World?
No, that was after I was done because Printy got bought out by Quebecor. I think this is the issue where Spank sits down and breaks down an issue by how much it cost him. No, I think that's probably number 3. No, there it is. Diamond makes around 20% off each comic. They mule between the non-exclusive. $1.78 a unit. Apparently, Diamond was pulling a $1.13. No, that's not right. I was left with 65-cent profit on each issue, though. That's how much I figured out from when I was printing with Arrow. That didn't give you much profit at all.
Lewis says, if you want to sell the comics, you have to build a subscription group. When people are doing these social media funding, what these people need to be doing is paying $18, $30 for years of issues. That's not bad. I mean, that would actually be pretty cool.
That's what Alterna is doing. They're printing so much product, though. You pay them $100, they'll ship you out a monthly package. I believe it's $100 or $99. But Peter's had some really good social funding. Every chance he gets, he throws bundles together, and he sells them for like $50 for 50 comics. You can get his comics at a really low rate because he always prints in bulk. That's why he had his social, his last Indiegogo campaign was to get into a bigger storage shed so that he could store his stuff better. Because he's had to go back the last year and reprint stuff 3 or 4 times that they run out of. He also does a retailer buyback program so that he doesn't have to go back and reprint a lot of that stuff. He calls up his chain of retailers and asks them if they have any copies to spare, and then he trades them for new issues that he sends out. He sends them new issues. They send him the old stuff back, and then he resells them as his back issues.
That's pretty smart. Do you think that are there any companies right now, indie companies right now that you think they're doing pretty good, and you look forward to seeing more from?
Well, Alterna, All of these guys, though, that's something that you and I have discussed probably off camera. All of these guys that are doing the social funding campaigns, your Mark Miller and Ethan and Doug, especially Doug. Doug's building up his organization incredibly fast. These people aren't building they're not crowdfunding comic books. They're crowdfunding the start of their own comic companies. They're all going to follow the Brian Paluto example. Only they're not all going to be doing boob books. They're going to be doing the books that they want to do. And they'll crowdfund everything, and everything will be done before they start a crowdfunding campaign, just like what Brian does.
I got a chance to see the Lady Death animated movie 2 nights ago.
Uh-huh.
I was really upset about the lack of boobs. I thought there would be more boobs.
Come on, it's a modern age.
Yeah.
Just be glad she's not head to toe like Captain Marvel. That's all. No flesh at all. But apparently a hint of, the rainbow flag, according to Grace, somewhere in Endgame. So there we go. Yeah. They're leaning her in that direction anyway. Which is okay. The best thing that they could do to that version of Captain Marvel is to do another graphic novel that's the death of Captain Marvel. That would be kind of interesting.
Lewis says, well, I'm referring more to what there used to be when we had mail order. Before I worked at Caliber or you at Arrow, when I was in college, I was doing subs, and I was 80% of my sales. I have a question. Speaking of college, Randy, I had a gentleman come to me at my first publishing company that I started, and he came to me, and he said, hey, I have a character. I don't want to put the guy on blast. Not yet. I probably will one day. But he said, I have a character, and he's been read over 80,000 times. Now, I was excited about that because I felt like, well, 80,000 times, 80,000 readers. That's awesome. 80,000 readers who like your character.
Who knew? It was just his mom who sat there for months reading his book over and over and over again. How many times have you read that, Mom? Oh, about 80,000. Yeah.
This guy, he had a character, and what he didn't tell me was that it had been printed in a college paper that every student gets for free.
There you go.
Every student on the campus gets for free.
Well, dude, then I'm a million seller then.
Yeah.
I've had a million copies of Flint Comics float out there.
And what the weird thing about it was, Randy, when he brought me, as we were talking about it, I said, hey, bring me some of the strips that you've read. I'd love to see on the paper. He brought me a Xerox copy of
always the best.
Like 3 strips, there was like 2 strips, a strip that wasn't his strip, and then a strip that wasn't his. And his strip was the one in the middle. And it looked like what he had done was basically drew a strip, cut it out, placed it between those 2 strips, and photocopied that. And he brought me this sheet of paper, like, see, here's my.
Here's the strip that I do. What do you think? Yeah,
it was horrible. It was horrible. And I'll tell you this. I'll tell you something else too. I was gonna do a contract with him still. I was still gonna publish his book, but gosh, it was he as you know. At this point, I hadn't really watched that many movies, older movies. And one of the guys that worked with me he told me, he says, hey, this guy has stole every name for his characters from Caddyshack. You really need to watch Caddyshack. And I'm like, okay, I'll go watch it. And top to bottom, he had stole every name from that movie for his characters, which I guess it's not that bad of a sin. I mean,
right.
But when I told him in his contract to listen, it's like if I came up with a character named Ronald McDonald, McDonald's might not care right now, but the minute I start making some money, they start to care. And he I told him, I said, listen, I'm gonna need you to sign a contract that says that if you get in trouble with this character, I'm not in trouble as a publisher. Oh, he got so heated with me. He stormed out my office, slammed my door. It was crazy. But
He was crazy to start with.
yeah.
Don't think that you set him over the edge. He was already cracked. I had a property that we were working on at Arrow Comics. Really, I was really excited about doing because I was writing, and the artist was doing some stuff, and we were trying to prod him into sending us more material, and he was dragging his feet, sending anything. And when he finally did send us stuff, we could tell it was a John Byrne ripoff, panel for panel for panel. Everything looked like Byrne. Didn't look like the stuff that we had hired him to do. And that he was light boxing stuff and trying to fit it in. That just breaks your heart when you run across somebody like that.
I'm watching another artist. I'm watching, and their art skill went from, needs work to master artist in a span of 4 months.
Oh, somebody discovered a light table.
Oh yes. And I'm looking at these pictures, and I'm like, that's Trace. And you start when they were online. They said, I can't find I'm having trouble finding a publishing deal. And my wife brought to my attention. She's like,
surprise.
Look at this. Yeah, you should maybe. And I'm like, no, that stuff is traced. Is that something that I guess as far as being an independent company or a comic company, whose job is it to catch those type of errors when they come through? Whose job is it to catch that? That's not even an error. Whose job is it to catch that type of thing when it comes through? Is it the editor in chief? Is it the art editor, submissions editor?
Well, I've had that situation pop up on me where we found somebody was plagiarizing really bad, and I didn't hesitate. We just had to immediately shut him down. He was done. And I asked him politely to apologize to the people that he was plagiarizing because they had brought it to my attention, and he wouldn't do it. So he was more than done. Gone.
Did he understand he had been caught, or was he, I didn't do it. It's a big coincidence.
Oh yeah. It all had to be subconscious. That's what he said. That was enough BS for me. I haven't spoken to him since.
And this wasn't like an homage. This was thievery. This was.
Oh yeah, it was direct. There's a difference. You can tell when there's a difference between a homage and a direct swipe. And this guy just took his whole style. And it was blatant. It was blatant, but you don't know what you're talking about. That doesn't look like anything like his stuff. It's like you're done. I didn't tell him that. That's the way it was. I said, you owe this guy an apology because he's lucky he doesn't sue our ass.
Yikes. That sounds like it was pretty serious.
Yeah.
The other party knew?
The person that he was ripping off was the one who brought it to my attention.
Oh.
And he would have never seen it if he hadn't done Motor City and ran across a copy of, printed work.
So the work had got printed then by that point.
Oh yeah. Luckily there wasn't a lot, but there was enough for him to know it was his. The first minute he saw the strip, he could. He sent me reference as to what page, what book he ripped off, and took a quick overnight from Amazon to take a look at it, and it was panel for panel. It was horrible and blatant.
I'm seeing it. I'll show you the art that I'm talking about. But this artist went from no idea about anatomy, or just kind of just tooling along there, and to awesome artwork within 4 months. I'm like, I don't care how long you were drawing.
Well, dude, you've always had people using photo reference working in comics, There's nothing wrong with that as long as you're drawing your own style.
You see, I mean, this is photo reference. This is a, whew, this is beyond photo reference. This is
But back when Liefeld got into trouble, back during the Image days, he was taking old Perez and Byrne artwork apparently and blowing it up on his copier, and then going through it. That's why his anatomy was so outrageously out of proportion. Was he was hoping people wouldn't notice? Apparently,
I've been told the worst thing to do is to learn to draw from comics
why is that?
because the anatomy is off in comics, and you'll learn all that artist's mistakes. You'll learn that particular artist you're copying. You learn their mistakes.
Well, yeah. If you follow one person, absolutely, you're
Mhm.
going to learn. You will copy their mistakes as well as their stuff. But the idea there is to emulate the style or and be able to tear them apart and take what's good and what works for you. You know, it's a column A, column B kind of thing in order to make your own individual look. That's the thought. That's the way it's supposed to run, at least. It's not always the way it does run.
Lewis says, in the company submissions, art director, but whoever discovers it, you call it immediately. But the reality is, before you call it, show me, draw it live without reference in front of me. Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, I could imagine back in the 80s and 70s and 80s, even the 90s, it was harder to do that, But now,
Oh, no. That's ever since the comic strip days. You've had people, some of the big comic strip artists guys, your Alex Raymond, Al Williamson, they'd use photo reference.
but the
all the
internet
time.
has made it harder to do that. The internet has made it like that you're going to get caught.
Oh, absolutely not. Not if you're good. If you know what you're doing, you're not going to have that problem.
Mhm.
You hold and maintain a photorealistic style that doesn't come, very natural. You have to really be talented in order not to be using some sort of photo reference in a light table.
Mhm.
It's
I've,
the way it works.
I've used some photo reference. I'll tell you this, for me, my phone is the best photo reference. I'll take a picture of myself or have my wife take a picture of me doing something stupid, and ends up in my comic. My wife is a character. I use
Yeah.
photo reference for her, so I never. But I mean, I won't. I'm not going to music covers or magazines and taking celebrity pictures and redrawing them as they are.
Well, a lot of people are. There's a lot of artists out there that run photo reference like that, and it's easy to get a hold of off of Google and Bing Images. So
Mhm.
you can usually tell the ones that do it blatantly because their style doesn't hold.
Yeah, Lewis. This is Greg Lynn photocopy level. This is man. This is like I could tell where one of the images came from. I was able to go right to it on a CD cover and show my wife. I said, "Look," and she's like, "Yeah, that's like didn't change the." But this particular piece didn't change the outfit, change the color of the shirt, but you can still tell that this character is this celebrity. And
Well, depending upon how proficient he was, I'd have called him in and told him he has to adhere to the 25% rule, or else he's done.
mhm.
The stuff has to look like your stuff. It can definitely look photorealistic. I don't want to stop you from doing that, but it sure better not look like any copywritten image.
Mhm.
A lot of these old comic strip guys used to have a set of models that would come over and they'd take their shots and then sit there and light box them onto their strip. But it was all stuff that the composition of the posing of the models was all theirs. So even Alex Ross uses extensive photo reference for his paintings.
Mhm.
He's got a set of group of people that he works with that he'll have come in and he'll take shots of them in different poses and then incorporate that into his painting.
What I had a question from someone on last week. What advice would you give to? And I should have followed this. I should have asked somebody this a long time ago. What advice would you give a indie publisher who's coming into the industry as in terms of setup for a con? What do you need to have when you come set up for the show?
I don't know. Product, probably.
Mhm.
Some sort of display to show who you are. Other than that, it's not my responsibility to tell them that they're, I've seen a few wonderful comic instructional guides that have pointed out a few things that were pretty right on. Don't put yourself in a cave.
Mhm.
That's a big one that people like to do. Young artists put themselves in. I am in a little cubby hole. Will you look at my stuff?
I think if it was a new, even this goes for artists too, the backup display is definitely important. You're definitely going to need that. To tell you who you are. Product, a tablecloth wouldn't hurt. Whether you go get a piece of fabric from Joann's or some type of fabric store, that wouldn't hurt. And
I
then
keep meaning to do that here. I just moved my spiral rack in the way so that you don't see all of the blankets hanging on the line.
and I don't know if it's quick to break down. Yeah, obviously, I remember going from my first couple cons, having all my con stuff in a little box by my computer. That was my books, my tablecloth, a sign, and an easel I had. And the easel broke down to about 12 inches.
Yeah.
And so I would pop the easel open, put my sign there, tablecloth, books, put my books up in these little frame holders I had, and I was ready to go. I don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
I got a whole big setup now. Now it takes me where it used to take me about 3 to 4 minutes to break down, 10 minutes to set up. Now it takes me about a good 30 minutes to set up, maybe an hour or so to break down.
Wow.
Try to be light, way lighter than me. But and I've got some tricks now this year that actually has decreased that time a little bit. I'm down like 20 minutes now getting broke down. Setup should take you a little bit longer because you got to play stuff and figure out what you don't have.
Yep.
But yeah, that's what I was one of the questions from last week, and I want to answer it. Let's see. Lewis says product display. Most shows that are worth a damn have a tablecloth over their tables. I've been seeing a lot of shows that have there's a white like tablecloth. Some of them, some don't, some do.
We don't.
It depends.
Bring your own display, but then you can get a nice sheet of canvas banner that you can drape over the top in front of your table pretty easy. I would say for probably around $100-$125.
Yeah, I've seen I know that sometimes it depends on the venue. Sometimes the venue will supply those table covers and tablecloths. I was at a show, Wizard. No, it wasn't. It wasn't Wizard. It was Michigan Comic Con, and they had the white like tablecloth on top of plastic tablecloth, but they did a black fabric skirting around the table, stapled to the table, and that was nice. It looked real neat. And I have a tablecloth, but it looked real neat. And it actually helped because of my tablecloth, the black part of my tablecloth is kind of see-through. It's very sheer, so enough light on it, you can kind of see right through it. So having that extra layer there actually helped. And they actually gave it away too at the end of the show. They were like, "You want it? Man, I'll take it." So got this skirting that goes around my table. I took it, and I think I've taken it to some other shows and used it too. So it's pretty good. Another question is, what has been your worst show experience, Randy?
I need to think about that. We call those shows from hell.
While you're thinking, I'm going to read these two chats. Lewis says it depends on what you are selling there. Are you selling more than just your comic? They post as t-shirts. Me, I sell my comics. I have some some plushies of Tipsy character. That's our last call comics mascot. I have a lot of stuff that ties into my company. I have some drinkware. I have a lot of stuff on my table, a lot of junk at my table. So, yeah. Dave says I always try to be light, but it sometimes depends on the show for me, and that's important. Or kind of think about the show. What show you're doing? Are you going to need that big backdrop? Are you going to need all those lights and cameras and all that crap?
Bring the bells and whistles, and then grab the radio just to annoy everybody.
Yeah, you because you might not need all that stuff.
Yeah.
And let me see if I can pull mine up here. I'll try to pull mine up so everyone can see and it's actually bigger than this now. It's actually a little bit wider. Well, not wider. I made some adjustments to it to try to make it quicker to take down and to set up and more portable to fit in the car. And that works sometimes. Other times not so much. Let me see here if I can go to it. Okay. Let me see if I can do a screen share of it. Oops. All right, where are we at? There we go. No. Yeah. Oh, okay. Let's see here. All right. I don't know if everybody can see that. But this is my display. Don't mind the big posters over there to the left. Those aren't mine. But here's my display. It's a little bit different than that now. I don't have the big metal poles. I have a tripod that I bought now that holds it up. But as you can see, I had a big LED bar. I got those arrows up there. Those are light. Those are probably less than like 2 ounces. I got a lot of stuff up there. I got a big vinyl banners. I, for one, like the vinyl banners. They hold up pretty well to weather. I've seen conventions sometimes open the door and that wind pick goes in there. And if you got fabric or something, oh man, it'll knock it right over. That vinyl tends to hold up a little bit more to the wind, in my opinion. Plus, if it rains, it's leaky in there, vinyl won't get affected by it as much as cloth or something else. I would also tell everybody to go buy some of those big car tarps to cover your table at the end of the night. I guess protects against theft, whatever. But also, some of these convention centers have very leaky roofs, so it's good to you got that tarp on there, repel some of that rainwater that might come through. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff on my table. And over to the right, you see some of my wife's stuff. Now that's not always there, but this particular show, my wife put some of her stuff out there to sell, those little tiles and stuff. But yeah, that's how my table usually looks. That big light bar there that reads stuff across at last call. There's a couple other things. I got 2 tablets. I almost always have to have electricity. Almost always. So yeah, that's my setup. And let me go back to you, Randy. Let me see here.
Let's take a drape, cover it over the table. I don't even have a back a blinder display. I got to get one of those so that I can set up at a table. I don't know. It's just not that many conventions I do anymore. You know, I'll do Grand Rapids. I'll do Great Lakes. I'll do my stuff. And then when I do my stuff, I'm never sitting behind the table for very long, at least. So,
What do you focus on the most when you're at a con as far as selling? I'm always trying to get the books out there. That's why I'm there. I'm there to sell the books. I recently started doing prints because it got people over to the table. I felt like a whore, but it got people to come over to the table, and while they're there picking up a print, I try to get them to buy a book. Uh, um, you'll find there's a lot of people who are like, "Oh, I'm not into comics." People come to Comic Con and they'll say, "I'm not into comics," and that's fine. Some people aren't. Some people got dragged there by a loved one. Some people just came to check it out. They heard about it. They wanted to see. But I figure everybody's my customer, and you'll never know until you ask them if they like to pick a book up. I'm not at that carnival barking either, though. I kind of dislike that, but yeah, I focus on some of the books. How about you? What do you focus on?
I spread out my portfolio, throw some books down, and put out a copy of the paper. Let people come up, pick them up. That's about it.
Do you find that having the paper there helps?
Well, it did when I was kicking it out monthly, but now that it kind of calmed down a little bit, like I said, I don't do that many shows, so. Oh, trying to pull you back up there, and you're not coming. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right.
Lewis says I usually try out and do it back up the next morning, but I don't have a setup that elaborate. Yeah, I leave it up. I leave it up the entire time I'm there. I don't break down.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Sometimes I'll lower it, but
sometimes I'll make sure the merchandise is under the table, or the real valuable stuff. I used to keep the portfolio with me at all times, but most of the time nowadays I just slide it under the table as well, because by the time I'm out leaving the hall, there's very few people left there anyway. So unless the security guard loves my stuff, I'm pretty safe.
I'll tell you this, theft will happen. You're going to get something stolen, so get ready for that.
Oh yeah, I had a whole box stolen from me one time. Short box.
Really? And I'll tell you about a harrowing experience me and my wife had. We weren't married yet, but it was at Wizard World. It was either Columbus or Chicago a couple years ago. We packing up, getting ready to go back to the hotel room. It's Friday night. Yeah, I think it was Chicago because it's a 4-day show. It was Friday night, and we go back to the hotel room, and we're getting ready to order food. And I'm like, okay, yeah, well, we had a good day, Good Friday. And I figured, well, we'll order some food to the room here. And I tell her, oh, let me count. I will take whatever we eat tonight out of what we made. It doesn't matter. And I'm like, hand me the box, the cash box. She's like, I don't have it. Like, you don't have it. No, I don't have it. Who has it? And I realized I left it on the table at the show. Now it was under the tarp.
Yeah,
I knew that much.
Lucky for you.
Yeah, and got back there the next morning pretty early, and it was still there, untouched. No one had touched it, but yeah, I mean, it was like probably about $400 in there. Yeah, so we were pretty lucky. And I had money on me, so it wasn't like we didn't eat or anything. But yeah, that was a scary experience. Like, oh man, there's $400 in that box, and we might not get it back.
Yeah, I hear you. You can't trust some security guards.
Yeah.
They're usually pretty good, though. I haven't had anything stolen from me in about 20, 30 years. 20, 25 years.
Lewis says right now he focuses on sketches.
No, I have to take that back because Grand Rapids Con, I drew up a picture of Rick from Rick and Morty as a bubble guppy. And I had that stolen right out of my notebook. Stupid me. I left it was a little sketchbook. I left the little sketchbook sitting on the table, come back, it was gone. So somebody walked over and liked it enough to rip it off and take it with them.
You know, the thing about it is they would have asked you for it. You probably would have given it to them.
I'd have sold it to him.
Yeah.
I didn't want to give it to him, but I got the file in here too. I was really happy with the way it turned out. Let me pop up my my stuff here and see if I can pull it in.
Yeah, so Lewis says right now he focuses on sketches and prints because I haven't had books recently, but when I have books, I'll promote that first and foremost. Dave says, yes, same here, but I started selling paintings, which can get people over to my table when I push my books. You know, Dave, I seen a guy at a show. Oh, man, what show was it? Oh, I can't remember what show it was. It was very recently, though. And the guy had paintings, and he was doing paintings for like 10 grand. And people were buying them, and he sold a 10 grand painting. 10 grand.
That's awesome.
At a Comic-Con. I'm like, your weekend's done, man. He's an artist alley. And that's it. You made 10 grand. You pay for your hotel and your table.
Hey, Morty, I turned myself into a bubble guppy. I'm Bubble Guppy Rick. Not that great, but apparently whoever took the drawing thought it was awesome.
That is pretty cool, though. That's pretty cool. Let me see if I can bring up one of my new prints that I'm working on. I'll see if I can bring it up. No promises.
That was
I'm using the tablet. Let's see here. Now you have to forgive me because I'm still not used to sketchbook and drawing on this digital tablet. I'm still learning. Let's see here. I'm trying to bring it up. Sorry for the delay. I thought.
Yeah, sorry to go dark there. Just for a second here.
Thought maybe it would come up, but
oh, what can I show you? What can I show you? Since we're digging through our stuff. Page 6, perhaps. I might not be supposed to show you this. Oh, no, I've changed that page. So, nope, I can't show you that. That one I definitely can't show you.
All right, well, I can show you one of mine that I've been working on. Give me 1 second. And it's a print that I had an idea for where to show. And I figured, why not? You got there's Rick and Morty, Betty and Veronica and Archie.
That's cool. Yeah, like it.
And I figured Rick would sleep with them. There's Morty over there holding the camera.
Awesomeness.
That's one of my new prints. I'll have to get it colored and stuff. I color like crap, so I have a colorist. I send stuff like that too. But yeah, that's one of my prints that I was working on.
Here's one of the current trails that I just did. That's sign number 3 out of 14.
Let me take a look. Oh, let me see here.
Should be up there.
Yeah.
Some Monarch.
Yeah.
Over here, she's back. And
do you think that this is for the new trail? When is this one due?
2 weeks. Everything. This thing I got to get to them as soon as I can. Nobody's seen this. Nobody's seen this but them, so don't tell anybody that you got to see it.
Okay.
That'll just be our little secret. That's all right though. They're happy.
Mhm.
I'm sure they're not gonna. Wow, there's some little flip out there. That's crazy. What's that from? Anyway,
Now, how long
back
will it
to the
take you to
real
do that?
world. Depends upon the strip and how much detail is on it. You know.
My son is a big fan of the Preservers. And he's asking me, when's the new one? And I told him, I said, well, I think that
October. That's when the
October.
next book's coming out. Yeah. As soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to start working on all this other commercial work. I just had another commercial job come in last week. That's going to be 72 big signs that I have to cut. So that'll be a nice chunk of change.
I think his heart is broken. There's so much change going on for him recently. He knows that Endgame is happening, and I tell Arrows. He doesn't watch Arrow, but he knows that me and his mother will sit and watch it. And he knows that's going to become to an end, and Gotham as well, and Flint Comics ended. So I think he's worried that the Preservers will end on him, and he'll
Life is full of change.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the way it works.
So I have a question for you. With the Preservers, that's totally like out of your hands. You own none of that.
No, I don't. I signed it all over to the Parks and Rec Association, but I knew I was going to do that from the start. There were no bones about it. But
Right.
At this point, it's stylized. I can't see anybody else being able to do what I do on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm comfortable with it. I still make money off of every trail.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been talking about franchising it out. I wish they would. I keep telling them I'd love to see the animated series. There's enough characters now that we could do a whole sport card set if we wanted to, with the different characters.
Do you?
But yeah, we had another half a dozen. This year we're adding 3, 6, 8 new characters, all kids. Last year we had all different versions of the original Preservers as kids, Preserver babies, just like the Muppet Babies.
Have they had you out for signings?
No, not really. I've gone out there and taught cartooning a little bit. I sat. They had a little festival that I sat out at. In fact, one thing I learned, because it was on an outside venue, for some reason, I got some moisture in underneath between my portfolio and my original art.
Mm.
And so the cover to Preservers 1 is no longer in existence.
Oh, that sucks.
I had a physical copy of that because it's a big group of the characters. We used it as a cover for Flint Comics here. I can pull that up. I kept meaning to do an article on the latest trail too. The last couple of trails I never did cover in the paper. I wish I had, but there's a lot about the paper that I always wanted to do and was never able to do it because I just didn't have the time. So that got to be a little aggravating at times, right there.
Lewis says that you should have guest artists for the cards.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Guest artists are. I like guest artists. I was trying to do some guest artists for some of my projects, but and I've had some guest artists come on and draw a particular character of mine, which always comes out pretty cool. And then it's fun. It's fun to have somebody else take a stab at your character and see what they come up with.
Yeah. There's the cover of Flint Comics. They had the Preservers on it, number 72, way back in May 2015.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that piece of art doesn't exist anymore because they got some moisture while I was at one of the outings outside in the preserve. For some reason, I have no idea where the moisture came from. It just, there's wetness that got all in there, and that's drawn with marker, and it just smeared it to no end. It was beyond saving. I was ashamed to see that piece go, but that not like I've sold a lot of preserver artwork. So, you know, I should have framed it and not had it as a display. I've got a couple other pieces that I carry around in my portfolio when I show the kids because they've seen a lot of the comics because Formar runs the same set of schools that I do after school, and they do, you know, preserver and conservation stuff. So, oh, you'd created that comic. Yeah, in fact, here's the original cover for number 2. Oh my goodness. So it's got the Pollutor in it with all the characters fighting. That was a good cover.
I guess one of my last questions for you tonight is, I know you said that, you know, you don't, you think, almost at Allegra, Alterna is doing, you know, a lot of good work as far as indie comics goes. What exactly are they doing right, in your opinion, as an indie company?
I don't know. Just Peter likes to go out there and try different venues and do different things and try to get his product out under different people's noses. And that's what it's going to take in order to maintain the market. And you got to go out there and get the people that aren't currently going in the retail shops. That's pretty much what the comic skaters are hitting. They're hitting a lot of those people that got out of the business in the 90s and 2000s that still want to read good comics, that see that they're up there, or that somebody catches wind or tells them that they're out there doing it, or they decide to watch somebody's video because of the subject matter and they're advertising their product, and it just opens a gate for them. I think that they would be shocked to see how many what their demographics are on those books, because it's older comic readers is what it is. I know it is.
Dave says, if someone wants to buy your creative work, I guess it's creative work, or your creative world, do you think it's a good idea to sell your creations?
All depends upon the project. You know, there's some characters out, and here's an old timer story I can tell you. The Preservers is an example of a product that I went in knowing I wasn't going to own them, and they paid me for it. They paid me for the characters. I created the main set of characters, sent them a bill. I did the signs, sent them a bill. Every year I do the signs, I send them a bill, they pay the bill. It's the way it works. And you know, we do all right. It's a professional level per page rate. I sincerely consider, especially after what we've been talking today, it's a little higher than what we were talking earlier about what you would consider to be a good professional page rate. But there's other jobs that are even better than that, because the Preservers led me to I don't have my portfolio within reach. I did a campaign for the National Recreation and Parks Association, where I created a set of characters for them too. Not only did I charge them really hard for the characters, because I knew I was never going to have any rights to them whatsoever. I had to sign contracts away for the characters, but I also charged them to do a 6-page comic. I think it was, I'm sure it was 6-page comic. And I charged them by the hour. I charged them hard by the hour. And I kept track of my time, and they paid good.
You have to, I think you have to learn, you have to know from the start that these characters aren't going to be yours.
Well, now, you're not going to invest your love in the characters that you're not going to own. You know, though granted, there's some Preserver characters that I would have a hard time if they found somebody to replace me to draw. I would definitely be heartbroken because of the association that I think I've got with the Parks and Rec Commission. You know, unless I bring somebody in, you know, I'd like to be the one to handle their comics.
How much would it take for if someone came to you and said, "Hey, Randy Zimmerman, I'd like to buy the rights, like full out from you. I'm going to give you a check for Hero Bot and Spank. Blank check. You write the amount there."
Well, Spank I wouldn't sell because it's me, and that's the other side of my story. I've got characters and properties there that I have not done because I haven't found the venue or the people that I would be able to keep rights with. One of my first superhero properties that I pitched to Kamiko way back when, and I still have the handwritten letter from their art director telling me that if I switched the story all around, that they would print it in Kamiko Primer. And I was too pig-headed at the time to listen to that person's direction because I didn't think he knew what he was talking about. And in order to swap the story around to send it to them in order for them to print in Kamiko Primer. And you know, who knew? I still have that letter to this day, and I show it every time I find it because it's handwritten, it's hand signed, it's written out. Characters are great. Change the story, do this, show the origin and flashbacks. We'll definitely print it, send it. And it's signed by their art director, who was Matt Wagner.
Okay, I was going to ask, did that art director go on to do great things at all? Or?
Yeah, it was Matt Wagner. So at the time, I said, he doesn't know nothing. I want to tell a linear story. It's just, you know. But yeah, that was back in the mid 70s that happened. That's how long ago that was.
Lewis says, you either sell licensing that expires after a certain point and returns to you, or you sell for the same amount as a national debt to let it go.
Yeah. Well, you got to make it worth your while to do the work, you know, and it's all, and there are times that, you know, usually once every sign, trail job where I'm reminded that I not really put in my place, but I have to peel back the artist in order to do the commercial art gig. You know what I'm saying? This isn't gonna, like today I had a meeting with the Formar people and we laid out the last 3 signs and they're going to be awesome, but I designed them with an eye of the commercial artist in me as to how fast we can lay this out, make it look good, and not have it be work intensive. Because there are times that we've gone in and drawn entire big panoramic scenes and all this, and it's taken me a day to draw a sign. And right now I don't have that luxury because everything has to be done in time for the 9th. The deadline to have all the signs up is the 9th, which means I have to have the work to them by like the 4th or 5th. And I still have a long way to go.
If you were Eastman and Laird creating Ninja Turtles and Nickelodeon comes along and says, hey, we want to buy it, how much would you charge them?
Right now, I wouldn't sell that property.
Well,
they're going to milk that that's their retirement.
Oh no, they sold it. They sold Ninja Turtles.
Did they? Did he sell Turtles?
Yep.
I'm very sorry.
Yeah.
I had no idea that's what happened.
Yeah.
I could see Laird selling. I think Eastman selling was a little silly considering they must have figured that they've milked that puppy for all it's worth and just got tired of hanging on to it. Nickelodeon come along and must have offered them millions for it.
Yeah.
Minimal. Just off of the Playmate toys. Those are some pretty sturdy toys.
Yeah.
You can still find them at rummage sales every once in a while.
You know, I was thinking, and this is totally uncomics related, but I can, as I'm sitting here, I'm like, yeah, it's getting worse. Under my house,
you're hearing the little scratching of the varmints.
Yeah. And it was about 2 nights ago. It got really, really bad, to the point where you could hear it like throughout the house. And it's in the back. It's in the master bedroom, in the bathroom, and you can hear it like scratching. It's in the walls. It's under the tub, and because you have one of those jetted tubs.
I can give you a number of a good trapper. I don't know if he travels all the way down to where you are, though.
You know, I made.
He works around here.
And what happened was though is that there is we figured it was raccoons, and I couldn't. I was like, I have to go check it out and see. So I peeked my head under there today, and I look under, and it's a massacre under there. It's a massacre where apparently something must have got under there and started like obliterating babies.
What do you mean? Eating babies? Killing babies?
Baby raccoons. There's like headless ones sitting like laying under, in the dirt.
Oh man!
And something got under. So, and I've been told male raccoons will do it. They'll stumble upon a nest of baby raccoons and eat them.
Yeah.
And they said, but what you need to do is get rid of the bodies very quickly, because if you don't,
they're gonna stink.
Yeah. And they let out this odor. It's very close to ammonia.
Oh yeah.
And
it's like urine.
Yeah. Oh gosh. So the back bedroom um, like I went back there and my throat started burning because I could have sworn I was like, is that ammonia? Did you ask my wife? I said, you clean with ammonia back here? No, it's I don't know what it is. And as you go in the bathroom, if you go by like the shower area,
Uh-huh.
it is so thick, and now it's starting to waft out into the rest of the house. And I'm down here in the kitchen, and I'm starting to, you know, I smell ammonia. I'm like, oh my god! So I feel bad. And my wife's in the bedroom.
Yeah, you're gonna have to climb under there and clean those out. And
Yeah.
so dig a hole, get a shovel,
hmm
you know, bury them in a hole. That's all you can do.
You know, I've got some. I bought some raccoon traps last year, and they're these little tubes, metal tubes, and they go into the they go into the ground, and they're meant to catch the raccoon's claw when he puts his hand in there.
Uh-huh.
It didn't dawn on me till after I got the traps. I'm like, wait a minute, well, it doesn't. This isn't like this is just a rat. It just catches his hand.
Well,
How am I
that's
supposed to?
yeah, that's the humane treatment for that creature. That's why I told you don't fool around with it. Get yourself a trapper.
Yeah,
Get the damn things caught because they'll do a catch and release. Only they'll drive, miles and miles away so that they can't come back and bother you again.
well, yeah.
And then there's railings and grates that you can stick down into the ground to keep them from burrowing under your house.
Well, what I found out is that those traps that I got, I called the place. I'm like, hey, a critter or something. I said, hey, how do I use this trap when after I catch the raccoon? And the guy said, oh, you gotta go dispatch it. And I'm like, dispatch it? Like, I don't understand. Like, call police dispatch. I don't
Saying kill it.
Yeah,
Yeah, they want you just to kill it. No, just catch it and kill it.
yeah. I'm like,
Well, like I said, I got a trapper guy up here. He's a gruff, cool old dude. You'll catch him and release him. He believes in the, ethical treatment of, even the worst critter environment. So,
Lewis says, they sold TMNT for $60 million in 2009.
yeah, shows you what I
I
know.
believe Eastman gets a percentage cut of all the movie TV money, and he has some sort of cut on the IDW books he works on.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
60 million. I'd be maybe willing to sell for 60 million.
Well, yeah, they probably weighed their option about how much they could make compared to, or how much they were making and did their projections and figured that 60 mil was a decent figure. So they probably split that between the two of them. And, what Laird's jumped into complete obscurity. He's gone. Who knows what he's doing anymore? He's probably invested in real estate if he was smart. Probably lost his butt in 2008. So.
Yeah. Lewis says, keep in mind that already made 300 million by then. I wonder about some of the old guys because I hear so much about they were making money like rock stars, but they were also living like rock stars.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And some of that money they made, some of the millions they made didn't quite get to the bank.
Yeah, well, it's a lot like winning the lottery. You get all that money, and you're not used to having that money. You either spend that money or you save that money. That's what happens. If you're smart, you saved it and you retire on it. You're good to go. Or if you're not smart, then you sell your biggest property for whatever you can get out of it, and then you retire off of that.
My neighbor is in consulting, and he was just telling me that for products, and he was just telling me that his job came in and told him, hey, you've got 2 weeks and you're gone. And he's 61.
Yeah.
And he's going to lose his 401k.
Jeez. Well, he's not going to lose it. It's just not going to be complete.
Yeah.
That's all. Probably enough for him to live on for a couple years, but not very long. Monica had the same thing happen to her over at Quest. She just transferred it over.
Do you think there needs to be something for artists like that? Like I know Hero Initiative does, where they come in and help, but do you think an artist should try to invest in a type of somebody who decides the art is going to be their life? Should they invest in some type of security fund or some type of annuity fund to keep money coming in when they're older?
Well, a lot of times you're living tooth and nail, job to job. So that's if you have that convenience, I would definitely say yes.
And yeah, I'm not touching that raccoon. Now, if I put the traps out, if I capture one,
That if you don't catch it and kill it, those ammonia smells are just going to get worse. Just like
yeah,
burying them bodies.
yeah, I
You got to get
really,
in there and take care of that as fast as you can.
yeah, I don't want to go under there.
I know. Either that or pay a young kid to do it.
Yeah, yeah. I got a young kid. I can send her. His mother will kill me.
It all depends on how young.
Yeah, yeah,
Find some teenager there in your neighborhood, and I got a problem. I need you to take care of it, and I'll spot you whatever, figure
yeah.
out 30-40 bucks, whatever it's good for you. But like I told you over the phone, trappers are worth it. They're like plumbers and accountants to me.
Mhm.
Just some things you need to leave up to the professionals and get the job done, get it over with. Mechanics are the same way, you
Mhm.
know. Yeah, there's some stuff that you're going to end up having to pay for, and that's one of it. Just pay for it, get it done, hassle free. And then when
Yeah,
you're done, you'll go, "Why didn't I do that sooner?"
and I definitely gotta do it to where they don't come back because
Well, that's why you pull a trapper in, because a trapper knows what he's doing. You can't
yeah,
just catch and dispatch. All of a sudden, the whole rest of the family wants your ass, and then it's a bad horror movie.
mm-hmm.
Then they're scratching at your door. Let
Let
us
us
in. And then you get the zombie raccoon coming back from the dead. So you just want to catch it and release it someplace, across town or across state, whatever. This guy runs them all up north and lets them out in the wilderness areas, and just there you go.
I was told raccoons are innocent. I saw my friend raccoons are innocent. Find a possum to blame, and
So you don't want to chase off the possums, though. Possums, you just want to move across, maybe a mile or two away, but they're not as rickety and scratchy as raccoons. Skunks, though, skunks are a problem. Skunks will just stink. But
yeah, yeah,
them possums, you want them possums around in order to eat the mosquitoes. Those they chew on mosquitoes like there's no tomorrow. So that's there's a reason they're there.
yeah, yeah. Raccoons serve
Even if their gestation period is every 2 weeks. So you could have an entire possum clan in no time.
Yeah.
I learned that on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Dave says, "Yeah, I'll hire someone as soon as possible. I can't do it." Lewis said, "Raccoon Cemetery." Um, speaking of raccoons,
Like Pet Cemetery. Only the raccoons return from the dead, and they all sound like Bradley Cooper.
you know what? I was told. Was it you? I don't think it was you, Randy. Apparently, I'm not sure how true this is. Bradley Cooper. Yeah, it was a lady in the bank told me. Has some issues signing Rocket Raccoon pictures.
That sounds like a personal problem to me.
Like he apparently the lady at the bank told me that he says I'm not signing a picture of a fucking raccoon.
Might be. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd sign him. I'll sign him. That's
I
me.
always thought he was a decent guy, but whether or not he feels like signing Rocket Raccoon is, his business, just like Vin Diesel signing a group.
Yeah. And the last thing about raccoons is I was looking at something online, YouTube video, and they were talking about the Mandela effect, and there are people who say they recall raccoon being spelled with one C.
Yeah, I just spelled it with one C.
Yeah,
on one of the signs. Yeah.
yeah.
And it popped up into the spell check, never caught it.
Yeah.
So apparently the computer is suffering from the Mandela effect as well.
Yeah, apparently it's RACCOON. I've never known that. I mean, I've knew it, but I guess now that I know, it's like, oh, it's 2 C's, 2 O's, and an N. As long as they don't come like they gave me some bait with the trap,
Mm-hmm.
and it's came in the mail, and
The
it
postman looked at you funny when he delivered it.
yeah, because this stuff is called coon candy.
Was it marked on the outside of the package?
Yeah.
Did you catch him at the door?
No, he had to drop it off.
Honey, we finally got it. Oh my God, buddy.
And I thought it was I bought them through Amazon, so it was 2-day shipping, and it says right on the box, coon candy. And I'm like, oh my God. And like the advertiser guy just hands it to me, and he had a little smirk on his face when he hands it to me, and I'm like, nice.
He caught that humor.
Yeah.
I'd have said it's not for me. It's for my mom.
Yeah, I should have told him that. Nice. I guess it's not for me. It's
Come on, dude. It's trap food. Where's your head? You racist bastard.
Yeah, I just let it go, and I put the coon candies out the trap, and
we eat at the Cracker Barrel all the time.
I went to Cracker Barrel for the second time in my life a couple months ago.
Yeah.
But I know the reason why I didn't enjoy it was because I had a sore throat. I was tired. We were traveling. We had just got to.
Good place to travel. Those are just slightly higher than the Waffle Houses.
We're in Georgia. Yeah, we're in Georgia.
Oh boy, there you go.
Yeah.
Where's your choices? Waffle House, IHOP, Cracker Barrel. Cracker Barrel. Okay. Oh, and Bob Evans, if you're lucky.
Dave says, Lewis says, well, Amazon has Guardians of the Galaxy posted Rockin' and Groot signed by Cooper, so I suspect perhaps Cooper may feel like he met his commitments to that. One person was told the story was making it up. And then Dave says he spit his drink out in reference to the coon candy.
No.
Which, it's the bag is around it somewhere. I have to show you. I'll take a picture of it and post it on Facebook. You guys will know exactly what it is. It's coon candy. I'm gonna get a YouTube flag. You can't say that. It's not.
Yeah, we've probably already had that. But what are they going to do? Demonetize us?
Yeah. They won't give me any money yet. I wonder if
you're going to get a copyright strike. The people who make coon candy are really pissed off. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you mentioned coon candy and a Cracker Barrel all in one sentence. We figure you're a racist.
Like I'm pulling the same list as what's his name? Alex Jones, a couple other people. Just a long
Next thing you know, you'll be calling Dan Slott human garbage.
According to Dan, when he did it, I was pissed. I even made comments like vague little threats, like if I see him I didn't say who. I was like, if I see him at a con, I'm gonna go up there to him and check him. Because
no, you should never did. That's just you're going lower than he's going. He's just at an infantile attention whore level. He did that on purpose to get your dander up. Don't give him any of your energy. That's the whole thing. That's part of the problem with this whole situation. These stupid drama queens out there, mean girl drama queens, all need to grow a bit of a thicker skin. But then there's a lot of the populace that needs to have that happen to.
Lewis asks, what do you think of the Hollywood Writers Guild situation, firing their agents, etc.? I read a little bit about that. I think that the writer,
I've had an agent a few times. They were shit. So whatever you got to do to make your money, I'd fire them. If they weren't performing,
which was illegal. They were doing packaging on the story, I guess, and the actors.
Oh yeah.
And that was it was causing the writers a lot of money.
Doesn't David Campetti do that? He does packaging. Glass House Graphics, right?
Yeah, it's possible.
I didn't know it was illegal. They probably didn't. They might not have cared because yeah, you want a good writer? We'll get a good writer and executive producer for you. Not a problem. Will you hire my sister? Yeah. Welcome to comics all over again.
Yeah, good old comics.
You'll find that kind of debauchery in every form of entertainment. It's a lot of nepotism. So look at Stan Lee. Stan Lee comics would never be where they were today if Martin Goodman didn't have a snot-nosed little cousin who wanted to hang around, get into the printing business because someday he wanted to write a novel.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know how the printing business worked? Well, you can come over here and be a grunt in the funny book bullpen. And
you turn that into a.
That's something you don't hear about Stan Lee when they talk about his history very much.
Oh, that Martin Goodman was related to him?
He got his first writing assignment because, quite frankly, nobody else wanted to do it. Wrote a 2-page Captain Marvel story so that they could stick it in their in the middle of the comic so that they could get the proper mail rate when they mailed it out to subscriptions.
Mm-hmm.
That was his start of his writing career.
My start of my art for sale career was in school. I was a kid. Can't remember his first name. I remember his last name was Jenkins. I used to pick with him because his last name was Jenkins. And he came to me one day. He says, "Hey, I want you to do me a favor." I'm like, "Okay, sure." He says, "You watch Rescue Rangers?" I'm like, "Yeah, I watch Rescue Rangers. I know Chip and Dale."
You mean with Lassie? Oh, Chip and Dale.
Yeah. And
back in my day, it was Lassie's Rescue Rangers. But anyway, go ahead.
And he says, "Okay, I want you to draw Chip and Dale gangbanging the girl Gadget from the show."
That was one of your first paid assignments too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I've drawn Martha Quinn nude, sitting on dressed as a mouse, naked, sitting on a spool of thread. You got to do what you got to do.
Well, unfortunately for me, I was working on the piece, and I had a locker in my room, my bedroom, like a full-size school locker. But it was, I think my dad bought it for me for from Sears or something, and I put all
suddenly my mom's impression of me changed overnight. Is that what you're saying?
Well, okay, so here's where it gets messed up, because I started putting a lock on my locker because it was my locker. So I put a combination lock on there. Well, my mother never liked the combination lock on the back of it, and I think she just on the locker. So she turned my locker around and she pulled the back of my locker off. And she went through there and she found the pictures that I had drawn for this kid.
You will have no secrets from your mother.
Yeah, and she placed them on the bed. And so I was at school when this is happening. So I come home and there are these worst kids. I came home with my girlfriend actually. So I walk in my bedroom and there's these pictures of Gadget getting
Did she ask for an explanation?
My girlfriend, she asked me what the hell, and I'm like, I swear they're for Jenkins.
It's Chip and Dale going to town on Gadget. Here, you want to try some of these out?
Yeah, and and I remember
I'm studying the Kama Sutra by way of Chip and Dale.
I said, "Oh my God!" My mother left a note too. She said,
what are these?"
The note was another gut punch. It said, "Is this what God gave you the talent to draw for?" And I'm like, "Oh God!" So when she came home, I'm like, "Look, explain to you something. I either need a raise in my allowance, or I don't have to draw for money.
I'm going to draw this type of porn for the rest of my life."
Exactly. And she was like, "You'll get," and she tried to tell me I was going to go to jail for it if I get caught drawing. I'm like, you can't go to jail for drawing that. But what she made a good point. She's like, I was like 15, 17.
That's not what they told the guy from Boiled Angel in Florida.
Really?
Oh yeah. You familiar with that case? It was a horrible artist, but he was a very obscene artist. The judge told him to stop drawing. He's court ordered. Don't draw anymore. Don't draw. Just don't draw. Because if they caught him with new drawings, they went in and cleaned out his house. Caught him with new drawings, he was going to jail.
They get even clean.
He had the comic book legal defense fund on his side for a while. I don't know how that court settled out. I think he lost.
Mm.
Pretty sure he spent some time in jail and ended up on the sex offender list.
Lewis says, does Randy remember when the first Novi Motor City Comic Con show, first Novi Motor City show, March 1994, where the guy kept asking me to draw his girlfriend as a nude shadow cat in a bubble bath with Lockheed?
No, but that's not, that doesn't mean it didn't happen.
A friend of mine, Chris, has been told to draw Daenerys screwing a dragon.
Yeah, well, like I said back in the day, back when Lou was talking about, it was when females were rare at these cons, they were getting some pretty seedy stuff. There was a whole group of perverts that had sprung up.
Perverts.
Yeah. we started that name in Tales from the Anniversary. If you go back and look at the letters page, people really liked mischievous and called themselves perverts.
Speaking of court cases, and we can end on this one. Did you hear the news?
Which one?
Court cases. Apparently,
which one?
Wade has got his court case thrown out.
No, he didn't.
It was.
You need to read that article.
It posted something that gets case thrown out of baby court. I didn't read it.
No. Zach had an hour-long talk about what actually happened. He is trying to prep his contributors that have contributed to his GoFundMe page to get ready to go again. It's a really interesting hour because Zach hasn't really talked about the court case very much, and he breaks it down from his lawyer's perspective and shows that Wade is screwed. And Wade knows he's screwed. He's been dragging his ass. And then Wade says that he's having his ass dragged when it's Wade and his lawyer that's actually dragging their ass. He wants to go. All Zach's interested in is an affirmed judgment and enough of a penalty to slap his hand. And he keeps pointing out that Wade lives in the richest area of the country. So he's not poor, but he cries poverty when he's up on GoFundMe. It's an hour-long talk, and yeah, it gets a little babbly, but because you know how Zach is, but it's well worth listening to because lately, I don't know if how much of the stuff that you've been watching, but Comic Artist Pro Secrets also did an article, a quick spot on it, because Wade sent around we're winning, it's looking really good, and there was one part in there that one of the Dunn guys from AP admitted that or said that they weren't coerced, but that there's a whole chain of emails where Wade is chiming in and calls and stuff where he says, I didn't bully you into stopping the contract. I didn't do it. And yet he did it. And that's what Zach says. He says, you want to prove to everybody, he's more interested in the defamation case because he says you can win a judgment for torturous interference, but the defamation that Wade has given to him, calling him a white supremacist, is going to follow him the rest of his life. Anybody that Googles his name up on online, there's always going to be an article that pops up there, and he goes, "I've got a diverse family." He says, my kids are children of color.
The only way that you can prove that he's white supremacist is if he eats coon candy, and
I don't even know if that would take it. Could just be your personal taste, but there's a couple of recently there's been some good videos from Comic Pro Secrets, and like I said, the reason Zach's talking about the case, the reason he wasn't talking about the case was because they had signed non-disclosure agreements that apparently Wade doesn't want to hold too steady to, or there's certain things that can be released at certain times. But he said there's a whole series of discovery out there, of which there have been a couple of really small points have come out. Some Wade thinks that he's got him here. He knows that he's got Wade there. And the Wade's lawyers are desperately trying to pull it out of Texas, even though that's where Zach is, that's where Antarctic Press is. They want to pull it out from there because they say Jawbreakers doesn't take place in Texas. That was their argument. I am not kidding. I'm very serious. And it's a lame brain excuse. And Zach keeps going. You wanna end this. You want to get this over with. You want to stop crying about it. Let's go to court. Let's go. Because he knows where he's standing. Mm-hmm. And Wade knows where he's standing. That's why Wade's lawyers are stall, because they're trying to run him out of money. And he's like, if I need another 10,000, all he's got to do is snap his fingers, tell Ethan, throw another GoFundMe call on the fire, and there'll be 10,000 there in 3 days. And that's pretty much what Zach says. You want to try to run me out of money? My money's not running out. I want a decision. You want to have a decision. You want to stop crying, stop stalling. Let's go to court. And he says that at least a dozen times in the video. Let's go to court. Let's go to court. Let's go. He wants to go. And he says now that the stall that Wade has given is going to be good for another couple months. And then his lawyer has told him to prep for another stall that could kick the case over until 2020. And he totally expects that to happen because Wade has no real leg to stand on.
Mm-hmm. Who was asking you to send him a link to it?
Oh, I can find that. That's not a problem. Here, give me a second. If they're like I said while you were gone, there's just some people that I listen to. I don't listen to every episode of Comics Matter or every episode. Well, I listen to just about every episode of Comic Pro Secrets, but I think he's funny. I think Ethan is funny, or not Ethan. Yeah, I think Ethan is funny. Zach can be a little dry at times. Mm-hmm. But Fourth Age is that guy is just smart.
Mm-hmm. My wife is convinced that
hey, how you doing? I think I could do it. And I always do a parody of it. Mark Wade drains wealth from. No, that's not it.
I think that's Ethan's video.
Yeah, it is. They got a new video up with Caitlin Ohashi. Anyway. Boom. And zap. It's under Wade. Meyer versus Wade. Mark Wade successfully gets the ... It's an hour and 7 minutes long. I'm calling it up so you might hear some of the lousy commercial that goes with it. Skip that. I got it muted. Hi, everybody. It's your boy, Zach. Actually, that wasn't dull enough. Hi, everybody. It's your boy, Zach. All righty. Where am I? I'm there. And paste. There you go. Lewis, it's an hour and 7 minutes long, but it's worth listening to. He breaks the case down, and there's no question that Wade's gonna end up hurting. It's just that, Zach said he would have taken an out of court settlement at this point if he had wanted to admit guilt, but he just doesn't want to do it because he's Mark Wade.
Have you ever met Wade?
Yeah, I have. I met him real quick one time, enough to get a full impression of his attitude. I didn't know he was quite the crazy person that he seems to be, but and I don't have any, outside of his general attitude at a con when I figured he was probably, too tired or whatever. He was pretty he had a 2x4 quickly wedged, if you know what I mean, at the time. That second link there goes to Comic book Pro Secrets. That's Ethan's latest article where he's talking about how Wade is blaming the comics gators for draining the money out of comics and away from retail shops because of his the lawsuit, when he's the one that's actually dragging his feet and not letting the case go to court because his lawyers keep stalling. And like I said, Zach said in that little hour-long thing, his hour-long video, that he wants to go. He wants to go to court. They've got their ducks in a row. They've done their full discovery, and it's basically comes down to Wade knows that he's screwed. So unless they can figure out another way to get around it, which I'm sure that they are looking for, then he's pretty much done.
Randy, Lewis says the artist you referring to who the court shut down is Michael Deanna.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Boiled Angel was his property. Did I list him wrong? I didn't mean to. If I listed the wrong name.
Well, so I think that's pretty much it for us, Randy. I will see everybody here next week.
There was something else. There was something else, and I can't remember what the heck it was. We weren't going to talk about. Oh man, there was something else I thought we were going to discuss. That was industry news, and I can't recall what it is now. I'll have to start keeping notes because I'm sitting there. I was sitting there going, "Man, I can't wait to talk to Varian about that." But
it'll come to you.
Yeah. Anyway, I got a show this weekend. If you're around, pop in. Varian will be there. I'll be there at the Flint Farmers Market. It'll be a nice little one-day show of fun. Maybe I'll get a video out there and take a video and plug that into my channel, just to show it off a little bit. I know Crazy Mark will be out there taking a lot of videos. Kurt will be out there with all of his droids. A lot of cool people. A lot of cosplayers are already talking about who they're going to be coming out on Saturday. So it should be a lot of fun.
Tickets are $5. Children 12 and under free for paid adult.
Yeah, $5. 12 and under free with a paid adult. There's 3 ATMs on site. There's plenty of food from all of the market vendors. It's a award-winning farmers market. Just about every kind of food that you can imagine will be there.
Yeah,
so.
And all priced pretty fairly too. Nothing.
And I have sold that arena twice over. The vendors that were going to do the Dayton show, that's a 2-day show, because they felt that they owed it to Gem City, or they had already committed to Gem City before I set my date. I found other vendors to replace them. It should be a good full house as far as vendors and artists go.
Cool.
So,
sounds great.
And we can talk off the air a little bit more about that. I got something a little more to tell you there, but
okay.
Other than that, it's going to be fun. And then once that's done, once these signs are done, once I'm done watching Endgame, more stuff, start working on that bucket list. Get those commercial jobs done. That's going to be a 2 or 3 day job. That's 72 signs. That takes a while. I cut them here, I weed them, and then I hand them the vinyl and the invoice. So,
cool.
Lots of fun.
All right, thank you.
That's when I need an intern.
Dave, I know Danny was with us earlier.
Everybody, is there anybody else hanging with us?
I think that was pretty much it. Yeah.
How many do we have viewing?
4 right now.
Well, I'm not watching, so there's somebody. There were a couple people out there that didn't join in on the chat. I mean,
some people don't have the sound of my voice.
It's okay if you're shy. Plus, we had that glitch right there in the middle.
Yeah.
So we had to stall. So.
All right, I'll see everybody. And then we're here every Tuesday, 8:00. Sometimes we get a little late to start.
About 8:30, 9 o'clock, and providing as soon as Varian gets his equipment together and it doesn't fry.
Yes.
We'll be here.
All right, everybody have a good night.
Take care, guys. Thanks for being here.